Everyone get a snack. Welcome. We'll call to order the regular meeting of the David Douglas School Board on this Thursday, September 11th, 2025 at 7:03 p.m. We're going to begin with our Native American land acknowledgement. Today we want to begin our meeting and our school year by acknowledging that we gather as David Douglas School District on the traditional land of the Multnomah, Wascow, Cowlitz, Cathlamet, Clackamas, bands of Chinook, Tualatin, Kayupuya, Molalla, and many other tribes past and present who made their homes along the Columbia and Willamette rivers, in honoring with gratitude the land itself and the people who have stewarded it throughout the generations. We want to again acknowledge the impact of the forced removal, violence, and attempted erasure of the lives and legacies of Indigenous people, past and present, and to commit to creating an educational environment that honors Indigenous history and contributions and encourages the continual pursuit of better stewardship of the land we inhabit as well. Thank you. All right, so today we want to move along and welcome our new student body president and welcome you to give a report.
Okay, this works. Okay, so it's nice to see you guys all again. I am Jacob Hall, the ASB president at Douglas. I filled in for Melissa Kate last year, so it's nice to see some familiar faces. And here are my notes from what's happening at the school. So the student council ran our first freshman orientation this past Tuesday. We had different stations that the freshmen can enjoy, like a high school hack station, which was basically just upperclassmen telling freshmen what we wish we knew as freshmen in the PAC. There was also a play day on the field where freshmen could enjoy some blow-ups, like blow-up structures. I don't know the exact name for those, but there was like an obstacle course. It was pretty amazing, and we asked freshmen, and they seemed to love the event, like in all parts of it. We also just had our open house on September 2nd, and our seniors just enjoyed the senior sunrise on the first day of school. We had lots of free donuts and coffee, and there was a big turn-up of 184 students, which I personally think that is a lot, actually. So coming up, we have tomorrow is our freshman tailgate. It is a time for freshmen to hang out before the football game, and Link Crew is running that. Tomorrow, there's also our first football game, which is read out. And also, tomorrow is our welcome back assembly, where we will be announcing our homecoming theme, which I love personally. I think it's really great. And our club fair is coming up September 23rd. Yep.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Hall?
I'll ask first. Thank you so much. Appreciate everything. The welcome back assembly, do you happen to know what period that's going to be, or do you? I don't want to put you on the spot, so if you don't, no problem.
10 minutes in the, is tomorrow B-Day? 10 minutes in the sixth period.
Thank you.
All right. And now our next agenda item is public comment. Thank you, Lori. So we have a long list, and I am going to read our statement around public comment before we get started. And also, I am going to note that we are going to limit to 30 minutes of public comment. So asking everyone to stick to the 3-minute time frame, because we have a very long agenda tonight. And we welcome anyone to submit their written comments as well. The Board of Education values public input. It's the responsibility of the board to actively listen and to reflect on public comments. The board will not respond to any comments or questions during public comment. Guidelines for public input emphasize respect and consideration for others. The board will not allow comments, criticisms, or complaints about district employees, and this is per policy. So we just ask everyone to stick to the 3 minutes, and we're going to up to 30 minutes total. And then at the end of the board meeting tonight, we have a time on our agenda where we have a time for reflections on public comment. So everyone's welcome to tune into that too, even if you don't stay till the very end. All right. Okay. Sorry, I was scanning to see if we have any students first. We like to prioritize if we have any students signed up for testimony before we start calling. So I'm going to start in order. Valerie O'Brien. Yes, please, and turn on the microphone. Thank you. Hi.
All right, my name is Valerie O'Brien. I come to you as a concerned parent, a alumni, a former varsity athlete, former troubadour, all the things across the board. My family has had affiliation with David Douglas since 1983, whether it be my sisters being enrolled, my mother working here, to now I'm a parent. And so I have faith that David Douglas can do better for me. With that, I have deep concerns in the way that our high school football team is being led. I am fearful, which is insane to think that I'm afraid for my kid to be at the sport. Multiple students have been left, like varsity athletes have been left by the bus systems. So coaches aren't doing the count and kids are left behind. But first and foremost, I want to talk about the Jamboree. My son scored his very first touchdown, and I was so very proud. And it was a joyous moment. He was the only one across the board in David Douglas to score a touchdown that day. We did get special permission from Brad Joy for him to stay later to watch the varsity and cheer them on, seeing as we have several children who we consider family on the varsity team. As we were leaving, my husband was approached vigorously by an assistant coach and verbally assaulted, to the point where I was like, "Children, come with me." I had to remove them from the situation because I didn't know if that person who was almost chest bumping him was going to get physical. And at that point, as a mother, I chose to remove them from the situation, which it went from the best day of my son's life to what the heck just happened here? And my 7-year-old cried. I have made my reports to the athletic director. I left them a message on August 29th. I did receive a call back on the 2nd of September, and I let him know many of my concerns, which is more than what I can address in this 3 minutes. I felt very dismissed. I have yet to be followed up with, and you guys need to know what is going on those fields. Coaches are cussing, coaches are throwing their hats, coaches are, what is the word? Lashing out. But when the children upon the team emulate their behavior, the children are being punished for acting exactly the way that the coaches are. And so young men become strong men through men who care. And if you're going to walk the walk, you need to talk the talk and do it all properly. I'm worried, and I could go on, but I'll leave it there. But I feel dismissed, and no coach should approach a parent in a manner that is aggressive, seems violent, and makes children cry, and takes away the joy of a freshman's first touchdown.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we will call up Maurice, is it Fain? Is that right? Did I say your name right? Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Maurice Fain. I'm an entrepreneur. I own a couple of restaurants here in the city. Let's see where we start. On Friday, the first game at Franklin High School, my son was at the game, and he had got into it with some coaches. The coaches began to cuss at my son, and my son retaliated by cussing back at them. The process went on. Later on through the game, my son gave me a call when the game was over, saying, "Dad, I just got hit in my mouth by another student." No one on the staff contacted me. It was my son who contacted me. And so I told him to meet me on the other side of the field where I was parked. We approached here, met the coaches here. No one knew what was going on. It was like no one cared. The AD, I approached him before I left the game and told him he needed to meet me here at the school, and he pretty much said, I'm busy doing something else. And I'm saying, hey, my son just got hit in his mouth. You not concerned? So I told him immediately that I'm going to the school and I will handle it myself. So when I arrived to the school, he then arrived. And even in the moment of me approaching the coach, the head coach, he still didn't come over and say, hey, I'm concerned about your son. He literally walked around in the parking lot here. Not one time have he came up and say, hey, is your son okay? Then we left. I talked to the head coach, told him what was going on. Then we left and went to the hospital because some of the kids told us what happened to my son, that he pretty much got hit and hit his head on some kind of metal object. So we immediately took my son to the hospital. And when we got there, we found out that my son had a concussion. We did have a meeting with the principal, the assistant principal, and I think Spears. She was there in this meeting, and the head coach. In that meeting, the coach said that he made a decision to remove my son for cussing. But we still haven't heard anything what happened to the kid that punched my son in his face. And we are very concerned about the cussing from the coaches, because whatever you do, the kids is going to do. And it's very concerning to me that you guys need to pay very close attention to our coaches that we have in front of us. This ain't the first complaint that's dealt with our football since last year and this year as well. So please, hear what we are saying to you. We need to reevaluate what we have in front of us. It's very important. If they're going to set the rules for the kids not to do something, they need to do it as well. You can't say one do it and we don't, and the kids don't have the right to do it as well. So I'm here to really get down to the nitty-gritty of this and find out what happened to that kid, because I'll understand that this kid was only suspended for a couple of weeks. That's not fair. My son was cussing, yes. I'm not taking that away. But he just cussed. He didn't put his hands on anyone. He didn't touch anyone. But someone hit my son and gave him a concussion. That's my concern. What are we going to do to another kid that violently assaulted my son, and you telling me he only gets a couple of weeks of suspension from games? That's unacceptable.
Thank you. All right. Next, let's Magda Flores. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, board and district. My name is Magda Flores. I'm an educator, parent, and David Douglas community member. Today, I just wanted to thank the board and the district for the current passage of the resolution for safe and welcoming schools for all students. Undocumented status is the reality that many of our families live each day, and for myself, growing up, for direct family members. So we know the intense fear that this brings, the uncertainty, and the right now, the constant fear of deportation is felt by everyone in a family, including our students, including our elementary students. They hug their parents in the morning, not knowing if they're going to see them in the afternoon when they come home. So my husband and I are both educators, and over the summer, we are, as in our years of work, we want to let our families know each year that we are a source of support for not only our students, but for them as a family as a whole. And that is what we do. That is a rapport that we try to build. So over the summer, we received 2 calls from current and past families asking for help as family members had been detained. So I just want to share the impact, the shock, and the feeling of helplessness, without exaggeration. For honestly about 3 days, it was a sense of depression because we don't know what we can do. We can't change the current reality right now. But we want to help our families directly, not being able to help them. So I just want to thank the board and the district for making courageous strides in protecting our students and our David Douglas families, of making it clear that hate, fear, and threats towards our David Douglas community members are not going to be tolerated. So thank you.
Thank you. Two of our people are actually applicants. They're not public testimony. Okay. Sorry. Up next, Jordan Oliveria. Is that, sorry if I said that wrong.
How's it
Welcome.
going? I've been here before. First off, I want to apologize. The last time I was here, I was lied to when told that it was going to be a new policy that parents weren't allowed to coach. The head coach told me that that was going to be the new policy moving forward, and that was a lie. I did meet with Brad and Stacy, and they both informed me it was a recommendation, but ultimately it was the head coach's decision of who's allowed to coach and who's not. I come here today, as someone had mentioned before, there was an altercation at the high school jamboree in Wilsonville, where an assistant coach verbally accosted me in front of my children. It was addressed with the athletic director. The athletic director said, "Hey, don't escalate this. Don't go to the board. I'll handle this. I've known him since he was 4." I don't care how long you've known somebody. I will consistently show up for these kids, whether it be middle school, high school, and college. He did reach out and said, "Hey, when is a good time to have a meeting?" I said, "Fridays are my only days off." Last time I was here, I told you guys I work 60 hours a week. My days off are limited. No, Fridays don't work because Fridays are game days. Well, in any other school district, that coach would have been fired immediately. There's a 24-hour rule. There are school policies set in place. And at the parent meeting, your athletic director told every parent there, you will obey the 24-hour rule. Do not approach a coach. Don't talk to a coach within 24 hours of a game, scrimmage, or a practice. No problem. All I was doing was walking over to grab my son and leave. And then we had the game at Franklin, where not only an athlete was assaulted, but another athlete was left at the field. He called me and said, "Coach, the bus left." I had my son, who's a JV football player, go and get him. And he met me, and I drove him back to the high school. The athletic director and your head coach were at the high school, and I was trying to address the situation with your athletic director and said, "Why are we leaving kids behind?" Your athletic director told me to my face, "We knew it would be okay because you were there." At that time, your head coach got in my face and said, "We're not talking to you. We'll talk to you and address you on Monday." No problem. I looked at the athletic director and I said, "You tried to have a meeting. I tried to let you fix this. And now we're at the point where we left an athlete in an away game. What happens if we go to Hood River and you forget a kid and you don't do the head count like you're supposed to? And one of our student athletes gets left at Hood River. Who's to blame then?" Yes, I was there for the child that was left. Yes, I transported that child safely back to the high school, back to his parents, so that he could grab his gear and go home safely. I don't work for this district. I was told I'm not allowed to coach here, and I was fine with that. This morning, I received an email from your athletic director that multiple complaints have been filed from parents and coaches about me being at practices and me being at varsity games. I've only shown up to 2 practices to grab my son. When I got off work early, I was able to make it here to grab my son. And I sat in the stands quietly and said nothing. If you don't want me coaching at the high school, I'm fine with that. I accepted that.
Thank
You do not get to disrespect me in front of my children. You don't get to disrespect me in public, ever. I stayed quiet, I kept to myself, and I've said nothing for a reason. I will let your coaches coach, but moving forward, I have asked my son, who's an incoming freshman, "Son, you have an option. What do you want to do?" "Dad, I want to transfer." Okay.
Thank you, sir. That's time. Thank you. Next, can we have Barb McDermott? welcome.
Thank you, and good evening. My name is Barbara McDermott. I have the privilege of teaching health at David Douglas High School and the honor of serving on the executive board of our union. I wish to share a couple of recent observations in working with immigrant students. Half of my classes are sheltered health, meaning the students are early in their process of learning English, and they're all immigrants. They are amazing, and they bring joy, curiosity, dedication, and intelligence along with all their varied backgrounds. These classes are typically very lively, and students are very accepting of each other. My first observation, towards the end of last school year, a boy came to talk to me during my prep period. Usually he came to ask how his younger brother's doing in my class, but this time he asked if I thought that ICE would raid the fast food place he works at. I could only suggest that I didn't think so, but I certainly could not make any promises. And I wondered how much this worry was impacting his day. My second observation this year, as we started the year with get-to-know-you activities, games, I noticed something new. In one game, the class suggests 6 possible questions, and each student randomly gets to answer one question. One question a student suggested we use was, where are you from? Because they like to find out where their fellow classmates are from. But as you know, immigrants from 4 countries are more under federal threat of losing their protected status, and I had this subtle feeling that when students from one of those countries got that question, where are you from? There was a hesitation and a lack of enthusiasm to share their family's origin. I've never observed that or felt that before. So when I talked in our mental health unit on the topic of identity and pride, I talked about pride in my family's national origin, which is Ireland, and their family's national origins, which are all these places in those flags represented over there. And we talked about the message to bring to the board, and they wanted to share their pride in their national origin. Several of them resonated with wanting to thank David Douglas for the education and the community they have here. And others wanted to express a message of welcome in their native language to those who will follow in their footsteps. Although it was just a single lesson, I think together we found a small way to turn away from fear and focus on the strength of roots, identity, and community that we have here at David Douglas. So thank you for your support of our immigrant students, their education, and their communities.
Thank you. Alex Sierra? Welcome.
Thank you.
Can you push thank you.
Is it on? Okay. There we go. Good evening. I'm Alex Sierra. This is my 24th year as a teacher, and I'm teaching and learning here at our high school with our multilingual students in our English language development department. I sincerely thank you for the resolution that you passed in January. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to our students. It means a lot to the families. And I thank the administration for putting that policy into action in our schools. I'm here today because both of my sets of grandparents decided to immigrate from Mexico to Arizona in the early 1900s. My deceased parents were U.S. citizens. I'm a U.S. citizen because I was born in Arizona, because of the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. My immigrant grandparents did not experience the type of extreme deportation policies of the federal government during their lifetime as our immigrant children and families are currently experiencing. But they, along with my parents and also us, did experience throughout our lifetime various incidents of discrimination, racial discrimination, ethnic discrimination. The type of discrimination of the past has been accelerated under the current administration. It's causing significant fear, uncertainty, and life-altering challenges to our immigrant students and families. I urge and I plead that all of us join together to resist and stop the hate policies and actions of this administration. We need to understand that these policies and actions are not for national security or to make our streets safe. They are to advance an anti-immigration political agenda. Last week, I asked my current students and they willingly placed on a map in the classroom a map pin of the location of their home countries. And I'd like to share that with you, if I may. If you would take one picture and then take one picture and then pass that one picture on. And then I made the picture larger so you could see the areas even better. I have to give second instructions in the classroom sometimes too. I would like to show these pictures and you'll see that our students come from, and families, they come from all different countries from all over the world. They bring with them their cultures, their life experiences, their beautiful languages, and their willingness to be a part of our great community. They come from countries that our current occupant of the White House does not like, but that gives us one explanation as to why he is hurting our students and our families with his outrageous and illegal ICE actions. Let me end by sharing some of the voices of our wonderful students who have varying immigration status. I asked them a few questions and they just freely, openly answered. Why did you and your family leave your family's home country? People were oppressed, tortured, and killed in our home country. The government forced us out. We were living in fear. We were refugees. There was war in our home country, and many are dying. So we needed a new home because my parents want a better life for me. Why did you or your family decide to come to the United States? Because the United States is one of the best countries. We have new opportunities and new life. Because we love Portland, the trees and the people, we have always felt welcomed here. Because the U.S. government helped us get here. How are you being treated here at the high school? I like being at this high school because they respect all cultures. I'm feeling love here. My first month here, a group of boys told me to go back to Africa. Things are good, but some people don't like Mexicans. Now, these two statements remind us that tragically there are some within our own community who do not support what we are advocating here today. The teachers and all people are very good here. I am happy we came to America. Our immigrant students and their families are not demons. They are not criminals. They are not hateful. They are not destroying this country. They are not the cause of all of life's problems. Our immigrant students and their families are loving, caring, and hardworking people who truly appreciate what we have done and are doing for them. And we must show them the same appreciation for what they have done and are doing for us. They are human beings who deserve the same human rights and the respect that we all cherish. We must join with our allies throughout the United States to help protect them, from the current occupant of the White House. Thank you for listening. I'm 67 years old, and I thank you for letting me continue doing what I'm doing, teaching in the classroom. I've experienced situations that were difficult, but I will tell you nothing as difficult as I've seen with my students and their families. Can you imagine taking your child to the bus stop to catch his or her bus and telling them that if you see agents coming, you need to run? That's what's happening today throughout this country, and that's what he wants to do here in Portland. Thank you for your support of our students. It is truly appreciated by all of us.
Thank you. Tish Hayes. Welcome. Hello.
I am a parent of a sophomore football player. I am the parent of the child that got left at Franklin High School on Friday night. Last Friday night, I saw them the football team go into the locker room. So I left off the field, went to my car with my other son, and my child called me, and he said, "Mom, the bus left me." And I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "The school bus left." So I turned back around, went back to the high school, to Franklin, and picked him up. And yes, he was with Jordan. Jordan had him safe. At that time, one of the JV football coaches, I guess, was asking Marcus and Jordan, do you have him? Do you have him? And they both said yes. So Jordan did transport my son back to the high school. That is not my concern as far as who transported him. My concern is we are out of district. My student has chosen to come to David Douglas. We live in the Beaverton School District. I transport him every day. I asked him to please transfer to a high school closer to the house. He says he doesn't want to. He wants to stay here. But at the same time, I don't feel like my child is safe playing football because he was left once. How do I know he's not going to be left again? They have a game in Hood River in a couple weeks. I probably won't be able to make it. Now I'm going to be worried and concerned. Is my child going to get left? Not only my child, but another child. The other issue at that football game was the cussing and the yelling from the coaches to the kids, to the players. And like somebody else, one of the other parents said that you have to lead by example. If you don't want your kids, the athletes cussing and screaming at you, don't do that to the children. Or if you do, expect it in return. I guess my child also was cussing and yelling at one of the coaches as well to defend himself or defend whatever situation was going on, trying to explain that he wasn't in the wrong. But my concern is if my child wasn't left at the school, was he left because they didn't want to deal with him on the bus because he was frustrated? Not only my child, but I have also heard from other children that I give rides home to once they come to the school that they're afraid to talk to their coaches because of fear of retaliation. They're not going to get playing time. They're going to have to do extra drills the next practice. And I don't feel that's fair either. Communication is a two-way street, whether it's a child and a parent, whether it's a child and a coach. My children, I am a single parent. We lost my husband 4 years ago. So to have other men, coaches, whoever, role models in our community that are willing and able to be there for my child, I appreciate it. But my thing is for my child to express to me that he's afraid to, not only my child, other athletes as well that I've given rides home to, they're afraid to communicate their concern, their wishes to the football coaches. I also let the head coach know that my child got left, and he's like, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. We did a head count. We counted everybody, and so we left. And then come to find out later, they said, they had told my child, well, we knew you were safe, so there it is. I have asked the coaches if I could take my child from whatever game we're at, because again, we live in Beaverton, so it's easier for me to just take my child from whatever school we're at to go home. But no, I have to, because it's not written in writing that my child's not able to be released to me. But here on this day, he was released just by verbal to his former head coach. So it's contradictory on what they're telling me. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Patty Lyons? Sorry. Patty?
Okay. Hi, you guys. I'm Patty. I have a student that goes to David Douglas High School. He's a junior. I didn't have no problems until today. I don't know about all the cussing because my son doesn't experience any of that. Only thing I have a concern about, someone used my son's name with the district board rep that said my son's going to shoot up David Douglas School. If anyone knows my son, knows that's not what he does. He's not. And I'm very frustrated. Anyways, I know it starts at your house first. My son's a respectful young man. He has never had a problem at David Douglas. I know the parents at the games are out of control. I know that. And I addressed my thoughts with everybody prior to this. And that's my only concern. I want to figure out who did that to my child, whoever sent that text, sent the email, because I'm not going to stop until I figure out what parent and what child did that to my son. It's embarrassing. They're calling me. I had to call the police because, and then I have four children in the house still, and they're asking me, like, you own guns, you own this. No. But at the end of the day, it does start at your home. So your kids are going to act how you act in the public. And I just want to figure out the email and went to somebody here or text message, and I want to figure out who did that and put my son's name in it. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Sabrina Summers. Welcome.
Hello, thank you. Good evening. It's nice to see you all. I just wanted to throw my feelings in the hat of what's happening with our immigration stuff these days. I'm an immigrant, and so it's very, very close to my heart. And I wanted to just share a little bit of an example. I get to work in multiple schools because of the role I'm in, and I do equity work with students and with staff at different schools. And most recently, this last year, I've spent the whole year working with one of our elementary schools with Spanish speakers who just came and had lunch with me. So once a week, I would go to the school and we would sit together and have lunch. And it was kinder, first, and second graders. And we would just sit together and we'd talk in Spanish and we'd read books and just play games. They got super, super, super excited about doing all kinds of different things towards the end. But these kiddos felt really safe in that space and just had a space where they could just, for a little while, be totally themselves, talk in their language. And then what I noticed towards the end of the year was that these kids were speaking more English than Spanish. So I kind of just watched that kind of flip-flop towards the end of the year. And I just realized the confidence that they built in being able to use their first language was phenomenal. And so I just wanted to kind of encourage us to continue to create safe spaces for our kids. Right now is not a safe time for immigrant kids and their families, and there's all kinds of reasons for people to be worried. And so I really love the idea of just continuing to find ways to help our kids feel safe in being themselves in their identity and in their family's cultural background. So I mean, that's really all I've got to say about that. I just really want more spaces like that for our kids across the district and would encourage us to continue to find ways to get creative that way and help our students have those safe spaces. And then also I would just like to say, thank you for your support of safe and welcoming schools, and also, let's just keep fighting the good fight around our state and with obviously beyond to protect our kids, to protect our families. Thank you.
Thank you. And I do apologize, but that is going to be the end of public comment for tonight. So if you were not able to give a public comment, please do send us written testimony. And for those of you, I think, that signed up for public comment that are applicants, that section is still coming up. So please, that was just not part of the public testimony, be part of the application, the candidate presentations. So now we move on to DDEA comment. Is Alice, welcome.
Good evening, thank you. So my name's Alice Eberharder. I'm the new president of David Douglas Education Association, our licensed union. I have a quick report for you all tonight. I do really feel like so far we're starting off the school year strong. We had our great pizza feed. I know the back to school nights are ongoing, and I think there's a lot of positive so far this year. Some of the ongoing issues we've discussed in some of our labor management and conversations are heat, class sizes, support in our classrooms, especially with some of the layoffs that have happened, just that change in support, really feeling it in our classrooms, as well as some of the MECP systems that we're continuing to work to improve. As you've heard from a lot of DDA members and folks this evening, the discussion around supporting our immigrant students and communities is really front of mind for us as well. I think you've heard really moving testimony tonight about how that shows up in our classroom spaces, in our kids' ability to feel safe at school. And I just want to say very straightforwardly that DDEA appreciates the work that the board is doing and is ready and willing to partner with you to help our educators support our community and our kids. We feel really strongly that making sure teachers have the resources, not just teachers, all of our educators have the resources to write a letter that a family needs, or how to share resources, all of those kind of things. And I know some of that has been shared in the past. Continuing that work and partnering on that is something we would very much love to do together. Kind of in a broader picture, I really think that with everything going on in the world, focusing on building bridges and bringing people together and finding things that we can work together on is a big priority right now. And I feel like part of this work really lines up with that. And I deeply believe that David Douglas can be the place where we are working together and building those bridges. So thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you. Do we have representation from OSCA? Oh, Darla, there you are. Sorry, I didn't see you back there. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for letting me speak tonight. I'm Darla Black, and I'm president of Chapter 40 OSCA, and then also the secretary at Gilbert Park Elementary. I want to start out by just letting you know how much I enjoy August. I get to go out and I meet with our new hires during New Hire Week, and then I get to go to Admin Academy and talk with our admins and share the exciting things that changed in our contract. I met with bus drivers, took them donuts, and welcomed them back to school, and then just talking with other classified staff and getting them excited about the school year starting. 2020, 25, 26 school year. Wow. It's been a wild ride. This school year has started out busy. We've had a busy few weeks. Buildings are feeling the impact of fewer staff, support staff, and the challenges of supporting our students with needs. But buses are rolling, lunches are being served, and students are walking our halls. And just finally, I wanted to mention, especially tonight, that our classified staff are super diverse. We have a larger diverse population than our licensed staff, and I just am really proud that we be representing them. And then I want to thank our board and our district for the work we're doing to not only make our families and our students feel safe, but also our employees. And just thank you for that. So have a good night. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. So our next agenda item is board candidate presentations. So we have 7 applicants here tonight that are, we're going to have presentations received from the candidates, and then the board will ask questions of. We're going to have a 5-minute limit in total. So presentations, hopefully around 3 minutes, with an additional 2 minutes worth of time to ask questions. And so the way we're going to go through this is we're going to welcome everyone in by last name alphabetical order. So our first up is Grisella Foster. I'm sorry if I... Welcome.
Good evening, board members. My name is Gisela Foster. It is with deep care and a strong sense of purpose that I submit my application for appointment to the David Douglas School District Board of Education. My desire and interest to serve the David Douglas School District come from a lifelong commitment to educational equity and a belief in the transformative power of compassionate, community-driven leadership. With over 22 years of experience in education, I have had the honor of working alongside students, families, and educators to uplift the voices and experiences of those who have been historically underrepresented. In my current role as a multicultural student success coordinator at Manhood Community College, I design and lead initiatives focused on student leadership, mentorship, and college access. One of the most impactful programs I'm developing is a leadership and mentoring initiative that connect college and high school students with the Oregon Leadership Institute, fostering strong relationships, building confidence, and nurturing future leaders from diverse backgrounds. I'm a qualified applicant, and my current work bridges the gap between secondary and post-secondary education, while centering students as change agents in their own academic journeys. My role also allows me to promote student-led initiatives that support the retention and success of students from different communities. I actively work to build systems that create safe, inclusive, and affirming environments, spaces where students from all socials and cultural identities feel they truly belong. These efforts are rooted in the values of radical kindness, equity and justice, and are designed to cultivate empathy, understanding, and collective care with our academic communities. Beyond programming, I serve as a liaison between the college and students, maintaining strong partnerships, both internally and externally. I provide guidance and referrals to essential resources, such as childcare, transportation, crisis support, and academic services. These connections help remove barriers and ensure the students, especially those from diverse communities, have access to the tools and support they need. I also help the students engage in meaningful opportunities for academic and personal development, including students' organizations, leadership conference, scholarships, graduate school preparation, and career pathways. My work consistently centers equity-minded support systems with a particular focus on these communities. Serving on the David Douglas School Board will be a powerful combination of my commitment to educational access, students, and inclusive leadership. I believe my background, both professionally and personally, give me the knowledge, compassion, and vision to contribute meaningfully to the board's work. I'm eager to listen, learn, and lead in partnership with the students, families, and community members to create more joyful educational outcomes for students. Thank you again for your time and consideration. I will be honored to serve the David Douglas community.
Thank you. Would anyone like to ask a question? Gisela, right?
Yes.
Are we going to have is there any kind of limit on questions, or is just?
Yes, we have 1 minute and 20 seconds.
Thank you. Okay. So I just wanted to ask, given your background, what ways you could see a district like ours improve in connecting students with Mount Hood Community College or other post-high school opportunities?
Thank you so much for the question. Absolutely. I feel like having a partnership between you and the college will definitely be a possibility, and it will support all of the students in different ways, in different roles. So we're looking at different programming, more visits, hopefully, and more collaboration with different departments, and that will potentially lead to more opportunities for our students.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have time for one more question? No? Okay, well, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
So much. Up next, please, Carrie Fry. Welcome.
Greetings. You all have my application, so my talk today will probably not cover anything that's on my application because you can see it. But I wanted to take a minute to introduce you, my family, my husband and my son. He's a student here at David Douglas. And in the middle picture is my older son. My two kids are 20 years apart. I learned a lot raising my first child as a single mother from raising a child now today. And the things I wish I would have known then. And then finally, in the middle picture is my grand dog, and then I have my two cats. I am a soccer mom, so you will find me at almost every soccer game. Both of my sons were goalkeepers, so I'll be on each end of the field in the corner just shrieking every time the ball gets kicked at them. But that's who I am. I'm a jigsaw puzzle enthusiast. I love live music, and I love to cuddle with my cats. We moved to Portland, Oregon from Central Oregon in 2018, and we intentionally chose to be in the David Douglas School District. I come from a background growing up in diversity, and we wanted our son to grow up in diversity, and this was the place for us. We'd heard about it. We'd heard about it. Friends had shared stories, and so this is where we wanted to be. And so we chose to be here. My son started in Alisat, went to Gilbert Park, and now at David Douglas. That's a little bit about me. What I am passionate about is the intentionality that the educators, that the coaches, that the community do pour into caring for the kids, and I feel very impacted by that as a community member, but also have a desire to be a part of that, and that's why I joined the board or the budget committee 5 years ago. There's a learning curve there for that, but that was definitely something I took on. But I'm going to get into 3 whys. I had 6. I now have 3, and I'll be quick. There is a thread that's woven through these because as I wrote these, I had just gotten done watching the ICE video that was released, and I spent 5 minutes crying because we live in a district who responds to this, but we are in a certain time frame that we have to even respond to that. So that was very impactful in how I answered some of these questions, but they are questions that are core to my heart and everything. These 3 purposes are my whys, and they're core to who I am. Everyone has some sort of roadblock in their life to overcome. And some have more roadblocks than others, and some are systemic, and some are intentional. And I believe it's very important to provide the resources to overcome those roadblocks, and they're vital to the success of students as they are becoming who they are becoming on their journey. My second why is mental wellness access. If I'd known as a single mom raising my son, the things that I know now and the ability to have mental wellness access at the school level, and if those were available at the school level, we would have been in a different journey than what we took. And I believe that that's really critical, and I love that we have those resources available, and those are near and dear to my heart. And finally, I'll say that with the increasing budget constraints and external pressures that we're receiving from our outside government, I'm passionate about ensuring that we don't lose sight of diversity, equity, and inclusion in our district, and that's woven through my other 2 whys. And these are not just random terms that I like to throw around, because I believe that they create inequality. I believe that these terms create an acknowledgement of systemic inequalities that we must work to overcome. So I thank you for your time observing my application. I know you'll make a great decision, and I'm open for your questions.
Thank you. We can take one question.
With your background, is there something you see that you are good at, that you see an opportunity to help within the district?
Yeah, I really was excited when about the Career Center I believe that getting in the community, the business community involved with kids, especially underserved kids, and of course, I'm passionate about technology and young girls. I believe that there's a way that we can bring business communities involved more in students and giving them that those paths and growing opportunities to learn about different types of career paths that they can take. You know, one of the things we did with serving as the Cybersecurity Advisory Council was creating we were tasked with creating the Cybersecurity Center for Excellence. And the way we chose to do that, because there was no funding at the time, was to collaborate with workforce development and community colleges. And so creating an avenue that allows students to work in these types of environments and learn and grow in these career paths, set them on a path to be able to, even though they'll go to school and get an education, they'll have a journey of where they can land in the future.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, next, can we hear from Gwen Hull? Welcome.
Good evening. We can go to the next slide. Thank you. Good evening. My name is Gwen Hull, and I am here tonight to tell you why I make a great candidate for the district position number 4 on the board. I bring a unique perspective as a construction project coordinator, a registered nurse, and an MBA candidate. And as a parent, I've seen firsthand how the district has supported my daughter's learning needs and helped her thrive academically and socially. Next slide, please. Professionally, I coordinate large construction projects with a focus on safety, accountability, compliance, completing projects on time and on budget. My nursing background gives me a strong foundation in care and community health, and my MBA studies are strengthening my leadership and strategic planning skills. Beyond work, I've served as a youth basketball coach, volunteered with Rebuild Together, Meals on Wheels, the Children's Miracle Network, and ALS awareness walks. Next slide. My education runs deep in my family. My grandmother and aunt are both teachers in another state. Hearing their experiences has given me a deep respect for the challenges and dedication educators bring to their classrooms. This motivates me to advocate for the resources and policies that support teaching staff and students here at David Douglas. My daughter has been a student at Earl Boyles Elementary for the last year, and the encouragement, safety, and opportunities she has here inspire me to give back. My own parents and mentors instilled in me the belief that strong schools are the foundation for strong communities. That is why this opportunity is so important to me. It's not just professional, it's personal. Next slide, please. I connect deeply with the mission and vision of David Douglas. The district's mission is to provide meaningful, equitable, and highly effective instruction so each student grows and thrives. The vision is that every student graduates with the knowledge, skills, and hope to succeed. My construction work supports clean, safe, functional learning spaces. My healthcare background emphasizes equity and well-being, and my leadership training equips me to advocate for programs and prepare students for their future. Next slide, please. In 2022, voters approved a $140 million bond to improve school safety, expand early learning, build a new CTE Career and Technical Education Center, and other upgrades to facilities. If appointed, I will bring my project coordination background to ensure integrity, transparency, timely delivery, and accountability for the remainder of the projects, so our communities see real results from the trust they've placed in this district. Next slide, please. I am committed to listening, collaborating, and carrying out the district's mission and vision so every student has the opportunity to succeed. For me, this isn't just service, it's a way to give back to the community, shaping my family and other families' futures. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, really. Question? Anybody? Nope. All right, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, next, Mindy Johnson.
Hello, good evening, everybody. If I get chosen to be on the school board, I'm just going to bring my kids and make a bunch of noise, and then that's it. That's all. No, just kidding. Okay, hi, everybody. I'm Mindy. I use she, her pronouns. And last week I started kindergarten at Ventura Park. You might be thinking, she looks a little too old to start kindergarten, and you would not be wrong, but here we are. This transition has brought a lot of reflection and a full range of emotions. There's excitement about what's ahead, the learning, the community, the friendships, but there's also some fear, the kind that comes with wondering how to protect and guide my sons in a complex world. Peer pressure, bullying, screens, identity, belonging, violence. It's all on my mind. So what does any of this have to do with the David Douglas School Board? I think probably many of you already know. I'm still reflecting on the full picture, but here's what I can say. Starting kindergarten or entering school at any grade is a really big deal. It's a rite of passage, not just for kids, but for families too. Dropping my boys off on the first day and watching other families do the same, the hugs, the tears, the high fives, it really moved me. It reminded me that despite our differences, we share so many of the same hopes and fears when we send our kids to school. I thought about the birth stories behind each child we passed in the hall, the languages spoken at home, the foods, the traditions, and how through some mix of fate, geography, and community, our lives have converged here in this district at this moment. That convergence is powerful. The possibility inside one classroom, one school, or an entire district is galvanizing. So in my usual fashion, I thought, I'm just gonna jump in with both feet here. Why not apply to be on the school board? Professionally, I'm the director of a community-based victim services and restorative justice program. I lead a team that supports survivors and facilitates restorative practices for youth, adults, and others impacted by harm in our community. Over the past 2 decades, I have worked to identify gaps in our systems and build solutions, especially for immigrant and refugee communities. I've developed programs, managed budgets, made staffing decisions, and expanded services for survivors, youth, and culturally specific populations. I've also worked in education a long time ago. I was an AmeriCorps Vista with the Smart Reading program, and later I was a treatment coordinator working in partnership with an alternative school called Clinton School, in partnership with Janus Youth Programs. So this work, and really being human, requires collaboration, empathy, strong communication, a deep commitment to equity, a growth mindset, and humility. And these are the values that I will bring to the board. Still, starting kindergarten has hit really differently than my other roles, because this time it's not about my job, it's about my children and your children. I'm a solo parent to 2 incredible biracial boys in the back of the room, and being part of something where I can put my skills and values to work for the inclusion and success of all students while helping navigate the challenges that the district faces, that's what sparks me, and it feels like the right step. It would be an honor to serve, and thank you for considering me.
Thank you. Question?
First of all, I will say I have been on the board. This is my 3rd term. Also the mom of biracial twins who used to sit there in 1st grade, so I relate. I guess my question is, have you had an opportunity to follow any of the school board's work? Have you watched any of the YouTubes or looked at any of the sort of policy questions we're wrestling with? And really, what do you think about that? Like, what? Yeah.
I haven't, because I'm just kind of jumping in, and I'm excited about it. And I've already cried like 3 times here tonight. What everyone's talking about, and whoever is chosen for this role, there's a lot of hard work in front of us, and I mean, I am a better writer than a speaker, but there's really the expansiveness of what is in front of us right now in this time. And so I know a little bit about what the board is working on, but not as deeply as I would like to. But I care a lot about these issues and would dig in. So,
thank you very much.
Yeah.
Can I add one more question? Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Quick. Yeah, sorry. What do you see as like impactful practices around restorative justice in the public setting, school setting?
I think the most impactful piece of restorative justice is that we don't throw people away and use punishment to handle our problems, and that we keep people in our communities and treat them with dignity and respect, and also come with an expectation of accountability and repair and create opportunities for that to happen. And so I think, and that can go for adults and children and youth of all ages. We all want to be seen, and we all want to have our dignity intact. And that's what restorative justice does if it's done well.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Is it Muriel? Jordan? Welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Muriel Jordan. Some of my family, maybe the backs of some of your children's heads. I live in Lentz and have been in Portland for over 10 years. I'm first and second generation American. I come from Visayan, Filipinas, Fijian Chinese, and Germanic peoples. My grandparents fled wars and countries to survive and give life a chance, including my own. And I grew up in Los Angeles, and now hopefully we can stay in the United States in our first home, even as the environment continues to turn our communities against each other. My household is multilingual, multiracial, multi-generational, and queer, and we vote. So thank you for all you've done and are attempting to do. When I was a young warthog, I attended Los Angeles Unified from kindergarten through high school, and we analyzed the honor in our names with Miss Franklin and the Crucible. I hammered designs into leather keychains with Mr. Raskin. Our counselor met with me and my parents when we needed extra support. Naval ROTC in high school fortified me. Custodians, I just remember this, helped me after I dropped all of my hot Cheetos and cherry Coke in a classroom. And graham crackers still remind me of Miss Topol in first grade. I am thankful and realize how important each role was in shaping my educational experience. College helped me align my career with my values, and now I manage constant change, often under pressure requiring immediate adaptability. And I've been thankful and lucky to be with Planned Parenthood for 15 years now. I work in person, on site, in a highly politicized health center, and as a health center manager, I have experience in budgets, operational management, project management, cross-departmental collaboration, SWOT analysis, SMARTY goals, equity forums, and task force. And I enjoy working with others and have always been in team environments, including through COVID-19 pandemic. Difficult conversations are not new to me as I receive feedback, as well as coach multiple roles from licensed clinicians to fresh out of high school folks. With Planned Parenthood, I also lobbied in Sacramento when I was 25. I wear many hats. I'm quick to catch on, but as a lifelong learner, I'm an iterative thinker. I like to ask challenging questions. I listen to understand, and I balance my mental health. I'm passionate about arts, and I have a video game background. I listened to recent board meetings, so I acknowledge the very difficult road ahead, and I want to be here still. I'm better under pressure. I'm very nervous right now. But I'm proud to attend our multicultural events. I'm a volunteer in the classroom, and I understand qualitative research is very important as well.
I'm here into the evening with you all because, and they're watching, I love my kids. You know how that goes. And I love when my kids engage with your kids, your staff, your teams, and each of us shapes their opportunities and futures. I don't envy your decision, and I'd appreciate your nomination and hope you vote for me. And I want to continue my learning with you. So thank you, and I can answer questions.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Director Indra?
Yeah, thank you. I was wondering, how would you hope to see a district like David Douglas partner with public health organizations and agencies?
Yeah, so I actually really loved hearing from someone that worked teaching in a health class, and I wrote down her name somewhere. We have educators who hold those roles, so I don't want to step into any departmental things. I don't represent Planned Parenthood when I am here. But David Douglas, the closest location here is the East Portland location, and they serve, as you know, one of the most diverse communities in the Multnomah County area. And so I see the partnership being very strong in the sense that there are equity and there's racial equity disparities and there's health disparities, and they are intertwined. And I am new to the David Douglas school system. We've lived here in David Douglas for a while, but our kids, this is their second year here. So I actually don't know of any school-based health center resources around sexual or reproductive health. I know the school-based health centers exist, but I don't have an answer to what your partnership is currently. And I would love to develop that with you. But, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Anybody else? Nope.
Thank you.
Thank you. Clinton Kendall, please. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Clinton Kendall, and I'm here to express my hope to be appointed to the school board. Next slide, please. About me, I'm a transplant from Georgia, moved here in late 2014 with my family. My partner was born here, so we came back to their home. I'm an SEIU Local 49 shop steward at my work site, which happens to be a healthcare organization. My main job there is as an improvement advisor, supporting labor management partnerships that try to focus on the success of doing performance improvement with the team itself having input rather than just the top-down approach. And I have 2 children in the David Douglas School District, both in high school here. Next slide, please. As I said, I'm an improvement advisor, and I believe the skills that I've picked up there for focusing process improvement towards patients can be translated to students pretty easily. Also mentioned I have 2 teenagers, and I believe the knowledge I've picked up there will give me great insight towards topics here. In addition, the patience I've had to learn for having teenagers will help with anything that comes to mind. I also have a passion for helping others, specifically a passion for helping find ways to help others improve themselves. If I had more time, I'd love to go into a failed college project I had. And I've also been through the Oregon Labor Candidate School, which primarily educated me on how to run for office, but a big part of that also was how to keep in touch with the community so that I can have their input on important topics I'd be looking into. Next slide, please. And the reasons why, my qualifications plus many others that I wasn't able to because I cut it down to the 3 minutes, I believe help indicate why I would like to be here, but also the times we live in, as many of the people gave testimonies for earlier. Every day seems to be a new attack on marginalized groups in this country, and we need leadership that'll refuse to throw any one group to the wolves while waiting for others until they can be sacrificed later. Too many politicians, leaders, organizations who preach the importance of diversity are allowing transgender people, and especially children, to be targeted while doing nothing to step in, or in some cases adding into the hate. Misguided leaders speak about wanting to protect the innocent in countries that are committing genocide in foreign nations, but are doing nothing to build confidence that they'll stand up for what's right in the communities while people are being attacked, our neighbors. being abducted by folks that are wearing masks and not having badges or any way to identify them. We need leadership that will not compromise on any group's rights and will protect our children from what is coming today and what will probably come tomorrow. And that's the traits I live by.
Thank you. Questions?
Hi, thank you. Based on your experience as like a parent in the district, have you ever seen examples of policies you felt really improved students' lives or education, or conversely, policies that needed improvement? You can say no. It's okay.
I do think the CTE program is a great idea that is going to benefit kids that are wanting to get educations in a little different direction than the traditional route. I know my son has went back and forth on what he wants to do from aeronautical engineer to just machinist, so having the opportunity to pick a direction with something like that would be helpful.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else? No? Oh, thank you so much. And Brian Peters. Welcome.
Thank you. Before I talk this way, I wanted to talk this way. Hopefully it picks up the camera. Thank you, everybody. All the folks that have left already, all the folks maybe online. This is why we're here. This is why I'm here. This is community. It is community that is what teaches our kids. Can I sit down? I'm still talking to everybody. So, all this stuff going on out in politics in that land, we show up here and show them this is the answer. That's why I'm here. That's why I want to be here. The reason I talk this way first is I listen. I'll get to the end of my speech, which was, my motto is, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And so every situation I go into, I've got that. Every time you bump into me, I'm going to be there. Until I get on your page, I'm not doing nothing. I give out my phone number to everybody that I go out to inspect. I'm an inspector of federal agencies. I inspect ICE, DEA, Customs, Border Patrol. They know I'm for real. They know that I'm a straight talker. I investigate fatalities, injuries, all sorts of things like that. What I get to is the facts. I want everybody in the room, on the table, being listened to. What we need to do for our community, that we probably already do great, I'm not saying we don't, is make sure everybody's involved, which is why I started by saying thank you, everybody, for showing up. What I do is try my best to listen and get people involved and heard. The reason I still have my pandemic ponytail, as Andrea Valderrama, I think, said in here, was COVID was a disaster. I still spread that. It is a disaster, and it still is affecting us. I'm not at all thinking it's not going to happen again. This particular pandemic is not gone. So I'm an optimist, absolute 100%, but I'm also a details analyst. I like to remind people what's going on. So I often put my foot in my mouth, sorry. When I go to inspect the government agencies, I let them know exactly what we expect, and I'm nice about it. We're all getting along. We're all on the same team. Everybody here, we're here for the same reason. The reason I'm here is because I love seeing our community stand up for our kids. I do not have a base of people I stand up for except for the kids. They do not stand up for themselves. That's why we're here. All the people I go out and see, they have their own resources. They have their procedures, protocols. They can get the results they need. Our kids need us. It's important right away. And so we need to look forward as far as we can, solve problems before they happen. And what I think we need to do is take a look at AI, how we're going to teach that. Take a look at social media, how we're going to teach that. We can't ignore it. Take a look at politics, personal politics. Right now, we can't ignore that. And we got rid of cell phones. I'm not sure that's the answer. What we need to do is figure out how it becomes part of the answer. My kids seem to be quite happy this week with no cell phones. Nobody's complaining. So that's sort of my prepared remarks. Questions?
Questions? Nope. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, so the next part of the agenda is the appointment. So this is an action item. So Lori has prepared for us ballots. And so the way that this works, okay. So we will, does everyone have the agenda? Okay, so yeah, the first thing we want to do is bring a motion. And then for how to proceed going further. So the suggested motion is that if no majority is reached, that the candidates receiving the most votes would move on to the next. So when after that, then we'd start with nominations. So you would nominate the person, a person or persons that you want to vote to be on the ballot, and then we go around and vote individually. So they do not require seconds. Do you want to bring a motion?
A motion to consider nominations, or
the motion to that if no majority is reached, the candidates receiving the most votes will move on to the next.
Yes, I move that if no candidate receives a majority, we move on to a second round of voting as a procedure for tonight, but after nominations are received.
Second.
All right, Director Ender.
To
vote on that. That motion. Procedural.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I was getting so excited.
Let me restate. So
yes.
the motion on the table is that after all nominations are received, that after the first round of voting, if no majority is reached, that the folks that have the most votes would go on to the next ballot.
How many? Two? The top two?
Yeah, unless there's a tie, because there's 6 of us.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Ender, aye.
Stevenson, aye.
Epstein, aye.
Germergerson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Franklin, aye. All right. Thank you. So the motion is passed. So now we will entertain nominations, which do not require a second, for individuals to be nominated for consideration.
I'd like to nominate Grisela Foster.
I'd like to nominate Muriel Jordan, and also can I make a quick comment that is hopefully safe to say I'm glad we're spoiled for choice. This is an awesome candidate pool. This is the hardest thing I've done in a long time. This is great. So thank you, everyone that applied. This is beautiful.
Yeah, I second what Director Stevenson just said. Probably the best pool I've seen in a while. I nominate Carrie Fry.
I would like to nominate Mindy Johnston.
Is there any other nominations? Okay, so now we will go around, beginning with Director Ender, and provide your vote for the 4 candidates listed: Grisela Foster, Carrie Fry, Mindy Johnston, or Muriel Jordan.
Grisela Foster.
Muriel Jordan.
Muriel Jordan.
Carrie Fry.
Mindy Johnston.
And I am voting for Muriel Jordan. So I believe that's 3. And we need, yeah, and so we, right. Okay. So we have no majority, so we have to vote again. Okay. All right.
No pressure. Oh my gosh. Okay, Mindy, I'm gonna go with Carrie Fry.
Carrie Fry.
Muriel Jordan.
Muriel Jordan.
Muriel Jordan.
And I'm voting Muriel Jordan. Excuse me for mispronouncing your name. Okay, that is 4 votes. So, Muriel, you are appointed the new board member. And I believe we hand over to Pat for this. Oh, we were going to
Because I know folks are probably going to leave. I do want to echo what was said by Thomas, and I'm not placating you. I have been on the board and gone through a lot of nominations, and I've never seen such a qualified pool from your passion and from your experience and from the different lenses you bring. So there are always appointments, and there are also campaigns. I would highly recommend all of you thinking about that, because we need all of you. And it was sort of hard to figure that out tonight because we had a really great pool. So thank you.
Yeah, and I also want to say that every single one of you would have made excellent board members. I mean, and will make excellent board members. And I hope that you stay in the stay engaged and stay involved in like Stephanie said, appointments come open a lot and elections come around every couple of years. And so we hope you'll stay engaged, and thank you so much for turning out for this, because this is really inspiring. Okay, and with that, Pat, would you please do your business?
Whoa. It's happening so fast. I guess. Do I stand?
We stand. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. Everybody here? Okay. I'm Muriel Jordan. Do solemnly swear. That I support the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the State of Oregon. And the laws thereof. And the policies of the David Douglas School District. During my term. I will faithfully and impartially. Discharge the responsibilities. Of the office of school board member. To the best of my ability.
Thanks. Wow.
And now you get a vote.
Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you.
All right. And surprisingly, we're a little ahead of schedule. So Hispanic Heritage is the next item on the agenda. Tay, is everyone here? Okay. Welcome.
So, first of all, I want to thank our school board for approving the resolution on safe and welcoming schools for all students, regardless of national origin, immigration status, or documentation status. This evening, you will hear from some of our Latinx, Latino, Latina, Hispanic staff members. They're professionals who work tirelessly every day to create safe and welcoming spaces for our immigrant students and families. They will share with you tonight the importance and impact of prioritizing safety in education for our immigrant students, especially when during the times that we are living with the current administration and their actions. They continue to create fear and uncertainty in our community, for many in our community. So with that, I'm going to pass it to Nelly.
Hi. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Hi. My name is Nelly Nunez. I'm a little bit nervous. I'm an assistant principal secretary here at David Douglas High School. I stand before you not just as an employee, but also a first-generation immigrant. I know firsthand what it's like to live in fear of being separated from my family. I come to you with deep concern and an even deeper hope that our district will continue to stand firm in its commitment to protect and uplift every member of our community, especially our immigrant students, families, and staff. We are living in a time when anti-immigrant rhetoric is growing louder and more hostile. The need to stand up with courage to protect our communities has never been more urgent. Many in power purposely turn a blind eye, or worse, participate in spreading harmful narratives about immigrants. We must continue to stand strong in protecting the same people who contribute to our schools, the students who walk through our hallways with dreams and aspirations, the parents who trust us to care for their most precious hopes, and the educators and staff who work tirelessly to create nurturing and safe learning environments. Immigrants are not political pawns. They are human beings with dignity, fears, aspirations, and rights. I've had the privilege of being a safe space for many students. These same students have been vulnerable with me and share that they fear what these policies mean, not only for them, but also their families. Those fears have become reality for many families across the country. Kids do not deserve to be put through that trauma. Every decision we make, every policy we uphold, and every public stance we take sends a clear message, either that we will stand by our immigrant communities in their most vulnerable moments, or that we will leave them to face the storm alone. Let us be the district that chooses solidarity over silence. Holding the line is not easy. It never has been. But the soul of our schools is defined not by how we serve the powerful, but by how we protect the vulnerable. Thank you.
Buenas noches. I'm Oscar Campos. I'm the assistant principal at Lincoln Park, but I come here as a community member as well. Thank you for the time. I remember being here last year talking about what the Hispanic Heritage Month means to me. This year feels a little bit different. I'm confused about what to say. If I say I'm a proud Latino, will that be taken away as an anti-patriotic statement? I don't even know who's watching the board meeting, right? So I feel like I need to censor myself a little bit by keeping my frustration inside about the attacks on the Latino community. And my worries and my fears are coming out of as a U.S. citizen as well. My heart goes out to the Latino families that can't be here to say what this month means to them because they have to remain in the shadows. As I think of what I will be doing on my school for Hispanic Heritage Month, putting the portraits of our Latino community on the bulletin board does not feel like it's enough. I want the students to look at our portraits, and I want them to know that we had hopes and dreams in an uncertain future as we were growing up as well. I want a wall of people not just surviving, but thriving. I want a wall of hope. And my ask is to help give our Latino community of David Douglas hope. Thank you.
Gracias, Oscar. My name's Andreina Velasco, but tonight I am reading on behalf of a colleague, Paloma, who was unable to be here because her baby's sick. Good evening. My name is Paloma Rendon, and I work in school security here in the David Douglas School District. I am proud to be part of the Latinx community, and even prouder to be someone students and families can trust to help create a safe and welcoming space in our schools. My connection to this work is deeply personal. When I was in high school, I experienced the impact of immigration enforcement firsthand. I can't fully explain how horrible it is to have your mother taken from you, to wake up one day and she's just gone. The person who raised you, who held everything together, suddenly ripped away because of a broken system. That kind of separation leaves scars. It turns your whole world upside down. No child should ever have to go through that. Yet I know many of our students are facing the same kind of pain right now. That is why the role of the school board and district is so critical. We cannot control federal immigration policies, but we can control how we respond. We have the power to decide what kind of community we are, right here in our district, in our schools. We choose whether to look away or to stand up. It is not enough to say we welcome immigrant families. We must protect them. We must show through our actions and our policies that every student, every family, and every staff member belongs here, that they are valued, that they are safe. We are asking that you hold the line, to stand firmly with us, because in times like these, silence is not neutral, it is dangerous, and our students are watching. What you do tells them whether or not they matter. Let's make sure they know what they do. Our diversity is our greatest strength. Those are Paloma's words, and now I will share words of one of the moms of my preschool students, who is currently detained in Tacoma, Washington.
To everyone, the people in the community, my friends, and the ones who I never met. Your praise and support have been uplifting to me and my family. We are forever grateful. Please continue to pray for me and my family, that I will soon be able to be with them, whom I miss deeply. God bless you all.
Thank you, Andreina, Oscar, and Nelly. If you can just wait a minute. And we do have a testimony from another David Douglas parent. Sandy, can you play the audio, please?
Soy de Venezuela, mi familia toda es de Venezuela y tengo una niña aquí americana. Hace alrededor de 3 semanas a mi pareja lo citaron a una cita al ICE a actualizar información. Cuando llegamos no dejaron que entrara ningún abogado ni representante legal y a él lo dejaron detenido. Yo salí y a él lo trasladaron a Tacoma. Pues no siento que no es justo lo que está pasando con él, en vista de que fue un engaño, cómo lo agarraron. Y yo actualmente tengo mucho miedo de que ahora, con las redadas que hagan, ahora me agarren a los niños en la escuela. Siento que no es seguro ni siquiera salir de mi casa por miedo, por tratar de hacer las cosas bien. Pues ahora él está detenido y yo estoy sola con 3 niños. Toda la carga que tengo ahorita, pues no siento que la pueda aguantar toda y no sabemos qué vaya a pasar con él. Lo único que sí sabemos, pues que si a él lo llegan a mandar, yo lo único que puedo hacer es irme también a Venezuela con mis hijos, porque ya creo que ya no podemos hacer nada, porque si quisimos hacer las cosas bien y esto fue lo que nos pasó, pues no creo que se pueda hacer nada. Lo único que sí quiero decir es que pues yo sé que no soy la única que debe estar pasando por este proceso. Debe de haber más familias pasando por lo mismo y deben de tener miedo, más que toda la comunidad latina, de que esto le pueda pasar a cualquier otra persona.
Okay, now I'm going to translate the testimony in English. Hello, I am from Venezuela. My entire family is from Venezuela. I have a daughter, and she was born here. About 3 weeks ago, my partner was summoned to an immigration appointment to update his information. When we arrived, they did not let any lawyer or legal representative enter the building, and he was detained. I was able to leave, and he was transferred to Tacoma. I feel that what happened to him is not fair. It was a hoax, what they did and how they did it. I'm very afraid of the possible raids. I'm afraid that they will take my children from school. I am afraid. I feel that it's not safe to even leave my house. We were trying to do things right, and now he's detained, and I am alone with 3 children. I have a heavy load to carry right now. I don't feel like I can handle it all, and we don't know what will happen to him. The only thing we do know is that if they send him back to Venezuela, the only thing I can do is also go to Venezuela, with my children because I believe that we can no longer do anything. We wanted to do things well, and this was what happened to us. I don't think anything can be done. The only thing I do want to say is that I know that I'm not the only one who's going through this process. There must be more families going through the same thing, and they must be afraid. Most of the Latina community know that this could happen. They know that this could happen to anyone else. And that concludes her testimony. And I want to say thank you to the families and the staff, Oscar, Nelly, Paloma, who couldn't be here, and Andreina, for the powerful testimony and for your for the work that you do. So when the resolution was passed, our board included a mandate to implement training for staff on how to respond to and notify families about requests or attempted access to David Douglas property by federal entities, specifically law enforcement agencies. And it also required the district to equip staff members with guidance on how to support our students and families who might be displaced or affected by this. So because of time, I will briefly highlight some of the key steps that we have taken since the resolution was passed. So we started with communication. Following the resolution passage, we issued a district-wide communication to families, to staff, to students, and to community partners. As a district, we developed protocols, and we share them with administrators, managers, and supervisors to ensure clarity and consistency across all sites. We also hosted office hours for virtual office hours for our supervisors, managers, and administrators. And it was an opportunity for them to ask questions and gain a deeper understanding of the protocols. Now, the community engagement piece of it. We share the protocols with our community partners because we know many of our community partners have their own protocols for enrichment activities after school or before school or the weekend activities. Earlier this year, we partnered with Latino Network, and Latino Network, a local nonprofit organization, offered a robust series of Know Your Rights workshops for families and for students. We had a total of 8 workshops, 4 in Spanish, 3 in person, and 1 virtual. We had 1 in English via Zoom. We also had 2 English workshops for high school students and 1 in Spanish for high school students. We also had 2 virtual Know Your Right sessions that were offered by one of our staff members, Andreina, for our staff members, for David Douglas staff members. It was not for the public. Additionally, Latino Network, they, on a monthly basis, they host La Hora Comunitaria, the community hour. They invited us to attend and speak at one of them, and which was live streamed via Facebook. The goal of La Hora Comunitaria is to reach a broader audience within the Latino, Hispanic, Latinx community. Additionally, we continue to share resources when they're available with families and staff. We also have a family resource webpage that we continue to update when we receive information from staff members, when we receive information from families, when we receive information or resources from community partners, we update our webpage. And with that, that concludes my update. Again, I want to thank the board for recognizing and continuing to uplift our community and their voices. Thank you. Any questions?
I have a question. I want to echo the sentiments of gratitude for your testimonies and for bringing in testimonies for those who are not in the room. I'm wondering what else we can do with our influence or with our powers of communication to support our teachers and our staff on an ongoing basis beside the robust resources that IVE has presented. If there are any opportunities to be in person, any celebrations we can be at, any ways from elementary, the preschool, to the high school, to the middle school, please let us know, because we want to help support not just in policy, but just being there and present. So I look forward to hearing what else we can do.
I can take this opportunity to invite our board members, if you're available, on Friday, September 26th. We are hosting our 3rd annual Community Partner Summit with Cassie Wood, our Family and Community Partnership Supervisor, and Ms. A. Spears, and a couple of other colleagues will be present to update and share our immigration protocols with our community partners. And it will be an opportunity for our community partners to ask questions that they might have. Andrina, you want to add something else?
One staff member who was also sick, unfortunately, and could not be here, Aline Alvarez. She is the advisor for Latino Student Union. They created that poster back there. And I think what would be great is to ask her to ask students how leadership can show up, and then we can circle back.
I know I've said it before, but I appreciate this district so much because of the work you've done around this. I'm meeting with a school board member from a different part of Oregon next week. I've met with numerous board members from all over Oregon, because everyone doesn't know what to do. And we have done 100 times more than most school districts have done. So I appreciate the list of the things we've done, let us know the things that keep coming up, and the things you're doing, because I use the information that I've seen the work you do to help other school districts do the same work, because I've had super conservative board members in the middle of nowhere, Oregon, be like, I still want to make sure these kids are okay. So everyone cares about this, no matter where they are, and I want to help. So anything you can give me so I can pass on, I would appreciate it. And please know that I'll say it every time this comes up, but I appreciate your work more than you could ever imagine. This was me growing up. These were my fears. I didn't become a citizen until I was in my 30s. So this is very important to me.
Thank you all very much. It's wonderful. Thank you. All right. Next on the agenda, we have GYO Summer Intern Report.
All right, I'm going to kick it off. I want to go back to and recognize it is such a privilege to be in a district that really celebrates diversity. And once again, here is an opportunity where we have dived into celebrating diversity and ensuring that our student population also aligns with our teacher population. And so, Sandy, if I can have you advance to the next slide. Going back to really our equity plan, and my staff will always say, Tay always says it lives in action, and it truly does. And commitment for, we really talk about the workplace policy around diversifying our school district. And again, I want to really reiterate our charge, and that's David Douglas School District commits to the increased staff of color so that our district staff more accurately reflects the student population in accordance with state law. And here we are doing just that. Over the past 3 years, I think we've had a total of almost 34 GYO graduates, with a high percentage of those folks coming back here and being hired into our school district. So very excited about that. Sandy, can I have you advance? So when I talked about, again, our student population, those numbers are from 23-24. At the right side of that, that's our teacher population, which is close to, I believe, 84% of white teachers. If we go back to our student population, we want to continue to ensure that our teacher population aligns with exactly that. We need more diversity, and our program is doing just that. Sandy, can I have you advance? Some of the goals that we've had, and there's been whispers, and I'll get a little bit more into that around GYO funding and what that looks like for us currently. At the end of last year, I believe it was July or so, is when we were told that some of the funding would be cut. I want to highlight really the work that we've done, your continuous advocacy. A lot of you have participated in that, and I want to say thank you for that. So our goal, why, and who, and you all have seen, a lot of you have seen this presentation before, but I'm going to go ahead and jump to the what. Funding is limited. We have not received our allocation currently, but we know funding is coming, but it will look different, which means also then our priorities will look a little different, but we're going to continue to lead the charge with Andreina's position, which is our GYO navigator. I want to say thank you to her, and also our tuition and student teaching component of our grant. Sandy, you can advance. So what does this look like when I say that it will be limited? Well, it will be limited on how we support our high school, and unfortunately, we won't be able to do as much recruitment within the body of the grant. The grant is asking that we prioritize the folks that are already in a program, and so the funding will continue to support those who are in a program, but will not allow us to really do too much around recruitment at this current stage. But I do believe anything is possible. So I say this now, but there is still opportunity for funding to come through. Also with pending, we have our students who are enrolled in our high school. However, we try to do summer academy for those students, and our partners have joined in and generally pay the cost of our students for coming in and being interns for GYO. And so that's been exciting. However, we don't know that we will have funding to continue that piece. I'm going to skip over to limited. Why are we limited? Again, it's all because of the funding. So we won't continue to recruit. We will continue to move forward with the students that we already have in the program. Some of them are here tonight to talk about their experience from over the summer. And we hope, again, that funding will come back to its original form so we can continue to promote and go back to our original goal of diversifying our student teaching here in David Douglas.
All right. I will briefly go over our GYO summer internship. Numbers have been growing since the beginning, 2021. You can see a peak last year. So when we hear that students don't want to be teachers, I believe that's a false narrative. Our students are very interested in pursuing education as a career. So last year we were able to hire 18 of our students to be summer interns. And then in the green line, you can see the students who were able to hire as permanent employees. The dip that you see is really because of the funding issue. You can advance, Sandy. There are a lot of pictures here. It was hard to choose the ones to focus on. What I tried to capture here is how robust our GYO summer internship is. It starts with interviewing and hiring students who are connected through our CTE program, our K-12 education program, interviewing and hiring them, helping them build their resume, build those skills up. They go through the entire human resources process just like any of our classified employees would. Then we provide them with professional development. They this summer learned about the science of reading. They learn about different types of technologies, how to run small groups. They also receive PCC college credits that are aligned with the Associates of Oregon transfer. One of the most crucial components is mentorship. So we are able to honor the teachers that mentor them in their classrooms through stipends. And I'll show you some data now of how important it is for our interns to have those strong mentors. And most importantly, they have teaching experience. We know from CTE research and data, how important it is for students to have that on-the-job experience. And so they work alongside teachers and assistants to support our summer school students. Next slide. Before we dive into the experience of interns themselves, I just want to briefly share the cooperating teachers or the mentor teachers data, them showing how engaged their GYO summer interns were with the students in the classroom. So our GYO interns have a direct impact on our summer school students and the growth that the interns made from the start of the summer school to the end of summer school. And oh, that little picture on the left there, Kira in the middle and Quinn, that's their 4th grade picture, and their cooperating teacher took that picture because they were in their 4th grade teacher's classroom. So it was a beautiful cycle. So in the next slide, Sandy, that's how Kira looks now. And so this slide is available to you, but I just took words directly from cooperating teachers, the highlights, the lessons that they learned, and advice for future cooperating teachers who mentor our GYO summer interns. Next slide. Here is data from our summer interns. Our summer interns are recently graduated high school students, and I'll introduce Princess and Nellie in a moment. They graduated in June, and they are now classified employees. And so what was their experience like? They felt very supported by their cooperating teachers. And one of the reasons that they're now considering to become teachers and educators was because of the summer internship. All right, next slide. So here are some words from other summer interns that are available to you. And then the next slide, and the most important slide, are Nellie and Princess. They are 2 GYO summer interns who we have had the privilege and honor to hire as classified assistants. And they're going to share their experience responding to 2 questions that are directly connected. Again, always going back, as Ms. Tay says, to our equity commitments. That's our guiding principles. Systems accountability. How does our system prepare our students for the world that we live in? And the 4th commitment are the workplace policies. How do we diversify our workforce? So in their experience and their words, they'll share that. You can introduce yourself.
Okay. I'll go first then. Okay. My name is Princess Moreno, and I am now a ELD instructional assistant at Floydlight Middle School, and I've been having a blast over there. So I really love it, and I'm so grateful. So to answer the first question, the Grow Your Own Summer Internship played a huge role in preparing me for both my current position at David Douglas and my journey as a student at PCC. During the internship, I gained real-world experience working in an educational setting, an opportunity that felt amazing to jump into right after high school. It helped me understand things that can't always be found in a textbook, like what it truly takes to support students and build the positive relationships that make learning so meaningful. I also developed important professional skills like time management, communication, and teamwork. The staff members shared their wisdom with me and poured their knowledge into me, which I'll always be grateful for. The whole experience gave me a clear sense of my goals and boosted my confidence. It helped me define why I want to teach, why I want to become an educator in David Douglas, and why I'm committed to furthering my education. Thank you. And for the second question, I strongly believe that increasing the numbers of staff of color in our district is incredibly important. Growing up in the David Douglas School District, I didn't always see staff who looked like me or shared similar cultural backgrounds, and that representation matters. When students see educators and staff who reflect their identities, it builds trust, belonging, and motivation, and even a career path meant for them. It opens their minds to the idea that they too can be leaders, mentors, and educators in their own community. As someone who came through this system, I'm proud to be a part of the change, and I hope to see more former students like me return to give back and lead the way forward. Thank you.
Nelly?
Hi, my name is Nelly Cortez, and I'm an instructional assistant at Alice Ott Middle School. And for the first question, I'm going to answer in Spanish, and then Andreina is going to translate for me. Para mí, el estar en el GOY Summer Internship me preparó para cómo yo poder platicar con los estudiantes, cómo los estudiantes pueden sentirse más cómodos cuando les hablas un idioma. Por ejemplo, yo cuando cuando tuve la experiencia de trabajar en Menlo Park, habían muchos niños los cuales ellos hablaban español y las maestras hablaban obviamente inglés y yo les traducía y ellos entendían mucho.
Disculpa. I haven't translated in a while to remember. So the GYO summer internship helped me prepare for my current position because during the summer at Menlo Park, I was able to see how important it was to be able to communicate with students. A lot of the students over the summer spoke Spanish and their teacher spoke English. So I was able to speak in Spanish with them and make that connection with them.
También las clases de PCC también me ayudaron mucho a cómo poderme comunicar de una manera sutil y una manera en la cual los estudiantes se sientan cómodos y hacerlos que ellos se sientan más emocionados al aprender cosas nuevas y cómo yo me puedo sugerir a ellos o cómo yo puedo hablar con ellos en una forma educada pero también amable y como que ellos sientan que están con alguien que puedan confiar.
And the class that I took at PCC over the summer also helped me prepare because it taught me how to speak with students in a gentle way, how to suggest things and motivate them in a kind and productive way.
Y para la siguiente pregunta, en mi opinión, yo siento que el tener a más personas que hablen diferentes idiomas ayuda mucho a los estudiantes. Por ejemplo, cuando yo estaba en elementary school, yo desafortunadamente nunca tuve una maestra la cual me hablara en español o sí hablaba en español, pero pues tal vez simplemente no podían hablarlo muy bien, entonces era un poco difícil para mí entender lo que ellos estaban diciendo.
With regards to the second question, I think it's really important to have more teachers who speak different languages. For example, when I was in elementary school, I unfortunately did not have a teacher who spoke Spanish, or if they did, they didn't really speak it very well.
Y ahora me doy cuenta cuando trabajé con niños de tercer grado y ahorita que estoy trabajando con niños de sexto y octavo, me doy cuenta que ellos sí saben las cosas que se les enseña, sino que simplemente necesitan que alguien les traduzca para que ellos puedan aprender y desarrollarse como un estudiante.
And now that I am an assistant over the summer in third grade and now with 6th and 8th grade students, I can see that it's not that the students don't know the ideas and concepts, but it's simply that they don't have someone who can help them through interpretation really be able to engage in that learning.
Entonces yo considero que eso es en mi opinión, yo siento que eso ayudaría demasiado. La verdad, solo en esta semana ya hay muchas personas que ya me ven como una persona a la cual pueden ir y preguntar cuando algo no entienden, ellos se sienten libres de preguntarme que yo puedo traducirles para que ellos puedan entender como matemáticas, que a veces es como una de las materias que más se dificulta en el inglés.
And already just 1 week has gone by and already students are seeing me as someone that they can go to support them, especially in math, which is one of the more challenging subjects in the middle school. All right, I think the next slide, Sandy. So we're going to conclude. Thank you so much, Nellie and Princess, for being here and representing our summer internship. And thank you if you have any questions.
Just a quick comment because we have a bunch of new board members. This is Prime for Advocacy. This is a program that have data that works. Very few programs that get brought to the legislature actually have data showing that they work already. So this should be easy to get them to add it back in. So if you have the ears of anyone important, make sure you tell them how important this program is to our district and other school districts. Because I know some of you have had very influential people at your events. So, just saying.
Yeah, and I just want to add, as like a parent of elementary students, I remember my kindergartner had a GYO teacher, and we were just so, I think she might have headed out for the evening, but in any case, we were so happy to learn about it just as a parent through that system, knowing that so many kids in my kids' class and school were being supported that way. It was fantastic. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have bond update with the Bond Oversight Committee. Welcome.
Good evening. We're going to be brief tonight. I know it's a full agenda tonight, so thank you again for the opportunity to be here tonight. I get to see some new faces here. I'm Adam Cormack with RNC Management. We're your construction managers. We're grateful and thankful for that opportunity, so we're just here to give you a quick little update tonight on kind of the progress. And then we have Lisa, our
Hey guys, Lisa Stormler. So good to see you all. It was so great to have so many of you on the tour of our construction. A lot of that you've already seen it kind of do what it's going to do. So the update should be pretty brief because there's not a lot that's happened after that. We were lucky to get a tour pretty close to the end of summer. So, so great to see you all, and we're just really grateful to be here. And like, honestly, that last section was just so inspiring. Like, so proud to be a David Douglas parent.
Yeah, next slide. Thank you. So just some general overviews. So we're going to continue quarterly updates. I think we're on for December for the board updates. We'll have more updates then. We'll continue our Bond Oversight Committee meetings. Those are very productive, and we've completed all the moving kind of the moving back into the schools. Overall budget, we're in a good spot from a budget standpoint. We are working with Pat and her team on moving some of those project savings from 2024 back into what we call a program contingency savings for projects. Overall, I'll get into a little bit more detail with the schedules, but overall our schedules, we are on schedule. We had obviously a very challenging summer, which we had all the buildings open and ready for staff and students to come back. So if we go to the next slide. I didn't know if you wanted to hit on any other things. We did have an opportunity late August, like Lisa said, to walk around with community members, Bond Oversight Committee folks, a few of you board members. I wasn't able to be there, but I know it was warm, but it was a good experience to get out there and take a look at all the progress. Sometimes it's just hard to articulate all the work through photos, but yeah, so I don't know if you had anything to add or.
Not too much. We had a great turnout. I mean, I'm recognizing a lot of faces of people that could make it. For those who couldn't come to the next one, there's going to be one more, I'm sure. And we actually had a lot of community members and people from the committee come too, which is actually really important. The work that we do in the Bond Oversight Committee is just making sure that the community is aware and talking about making sure that we're getting communications out. We work with IDA, we give her all our ideas, and poor IDA has to try and make it happen. So it was a great community intersection point, also the tour. So thanks to everybody who came out.
Yeah, thank you. So this is just a overview, kind of the three buckets, kind of the David Douglas High School, the summer projects 2025, and then the summer 2026. And we're excited to report that after summer 2026, fall of 2026, all the bond commitments will be committed and completed. And hopefully at that time we'll have some opportunity with potentially some savings to discuss some maybe other opportunities. But yeah, we're on target for that. So if we go to the next one, I'll hit just briefly. The high school CTE, the kind of the flagship project here, we are on a really good roadmap to be completed for in December for that transition back in. Really good roadmap. We are targeting. We're finishing up a lot of the finishes. I think a lot of folks were able to see that, but we are working on kind of the owner furnished items that go into that building. We're getting ready to start putting furniture in there come December and get ready for that staff to be moving in middle of December. The David Douglas High School repair renovation, if you remember last year, we kind of did the north. This year we did the south. We did some field work. We did the Performing Arts Center. And then we did a lot of stuff in the south. Happy to report we are substantially complete. As you know, when you walked in, there's still some stuff that we're working on. There's still punch list items and some miscellaneous stuff that we're working on, but we were able to complete that and get it ready for staff and students to move in. We're continuing to work after hours, not impacting staff. There is one area that was planned to not be completed, kind of that early childhood development on the south campus, and that vestibule or that courtyard area that is still ongoing work, and that work is scheduled to be done middle of October. So a lot of good work out there. I will say that was the amount of work that we were able to get done in such a short period of time. Kudos to all the team members, the district leadership, Pence, the architects, records, et cetera, et cetera. It really took a lot of folks to be able to get there and get it ready for staff and students to come back. So you can go to the next slide. Fur Ridge, so these next ones, 2025 projects, Fur Ridge, substantially complete, no major challenges out there. I will, and staff moved back in on time, et cetera. Mill Park, I will say that we did run into a handful of unforeseen conditions. We were able to, the amount of effort and hard work that all the team put in to be able to get that building ready and back in shape for the staff to get back was impressive. There was long hours, weekends, et cetera, et cetera. We did have some water damage challenges, which created actually a whole nother project, so we had to scramble and do that, but we were able to complete that project and get the staff back in there. The West Palhurst, Floyd Light, and South Palhurst were kind of combined under one general contractor. All projects we were able to move staff back in. We had some challenges, obviously, with the amount of work that we had to get done. West Palhurst, I will say, was a challenge we ran into. Again, there are a lot of unforeseen conditions that we worked through. I'm happy to report that obviously staff was able to move back, students were able to move back, but the only kind of remaining scope, we had some challenges with mechanical equipment that was on schedule to be. So the gymnasium, other than that, the gymnasium mechanical equipment is targeted to be done in the next 30 days. So we're in progress to complete that. Intercoms, we started intercoms, and overall we finished all those projects. This summer we have 6 more projects that were slated for next summer, but those went well. We're just complete with those, working through just kind of the commissioning phases, et cetera, et cetera. And then next one's just the 2025 projects. So the top two, the Mill Park, Lincoln Park, if you remember, we went through a GCCM process to procure general contractors, also Earl Boyles and Gilbert Park. Those projects are kind of all in the same phase. We're working really hard to get all the equipment and everything procured so that we have that equipment out there ready for summer 2026 projects. The teams out there, Howard S. Wright and PNC Construction, are working really well to get good coverage and contracts, et cetera. The other 3, Menlo Park, Ventura Park, and Ron Russell, again, similar phases. Those are what we call hard bid, design bid build. We're going to go out to those pre-qualified folks. We are on schedule to get those in for permit late this fall and go out to bid in January. We identified those as don't have much, if any, long lead items, so we're bidding those accordingly to those pre-qualified general contractors. And then again, those intercoms, we have 6 projects that we're doing this summer that will wrap up all that scope. And after these scopes are completed, we've kind of completed that bond promise, bond completion scope of work. So a lot of work has happened, back since that bond passed in 2022 to where we are to date. And so that, I went through it pretty quick. I wanted to leave some time if there's any questions or comments or clarifications. So.
Thank you so much. I don't have any questions. I was on the tour. It was great. Learned a lot.
Right, the tour's the best. Yeah. You just got to come to the tour next year.
Right. Thanks, everyone.
I just have to say, like, seeing it all come to fruition feels magical, quite honestly, and I know it's not magic because I've seen the spreadsheets. The work that you've done is incredible, and especially in the fiscal environment that we're in and the uncertainties around, when things get delivered, and it's really impressive. And Pat, your team on budget, I mean, it's just, it's really impressive, and I'm so excited. I was excited coming in and seeing the South entrance. I'm like, oh, look at that.
And
So thank you.
we'll have air conditioning.
Yes, so great. Thank you.
So.
Quickly, I'll echo all the thank yous from everyone involved, but just a flag right now, because we have community and a lot of people around this table, a little bit of a vision and dream. I know I've talked to Adam. I haven't had the opportunity to necessarily talk to you about this yet, but we are looking at the possibility of hosting a fundraiser in the CTE Center. Our board chair is very interested in it, and we're going through a process. This is initial. It's not anything formal at this point, but I want you to know how excited I'm about that opportunity, and I've already talked to Adam about it. How can we engage our partners, our construction partners, get their involvement, get community involvement, and really we have bond, we have funds that are outfitting the CTE, but there's always room for more. So just what a great way to kick it off, and really excited to kind of formulate that committee. So thanks to Heather that has this vision and this dream, and more to come, but I thought this might be a good time to introduce it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so integrated plan with Elise Hall. Thank you.
Madam Chair, do you mind if I just take, just real quick, I want to, Elise and Valerie are going to take all the logistics of this, but I want to remind the board, and a thank you, remind the board that due to budget constraints, we used to have a different position on cabinet, a director of assessment and technology. As that individual left our district, made a choice, and during that time, we decided not to hire back. When we did that, we split the duties of that position and added it to other individuals around this table. Brooke took on the assessment side of the house. Sean Setliff, an amazing employee within our district, has taken on a supervisory board within technology. So both of those individuals just leaned in and said, yes, for our district, for our kids, let's go. The reality is we have two others that have leaned in. And what I mean by this presentation normally would have been Dr. Brown, Derek Brown, and he's not with us. So with that said, kind of picked up the phone and what do you think? And both these amazing leaders and ladies said, we're there, let's go, and they've stepped in and leaned in. So just a little background and context of where we're at. Elise will explain everything else, but the main reason for this presentation, you'll see it's not an action item, and really it is kind of the opportunity for public testimony, but we thought what a great opportunity to also talk about integrated plan, give some background information. So I'll be quiet because I don't want to steal any thunder there, but thank you both.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Elise Hall, and here with Val Hill, and there are members of our integrated plan team here as well. So back in April, this board approved our new integrated plan for the 2025-27 school year, setting the course for the years ahead. But tonight, our focus is different. We're looking back. We're here to share our annual report, a reflection on the progress we made last year under the previous plan and the outcomes we're seeing across our schools. Next slide, please. As a brief review, Oregon's integrated plan brings together 9 state and federal programs, and those are listed in the colored bars there. And they're all connected through common elements that align to 4 goals shown on the right side of the screen. In practice, the integrated plan is the framework that organizes multiple grants and initiatives into a more cohesive system. Next slide, please. So this slide just shows those 9 programs that make up Oregon's integrated plan, and each with its own purpose, but all working together to support student success. Next slide. Each fall, we present the integrated plan annual report to the board and invite public comment. This is part of a regular cycle of grant submission and reporting, which creates a clear and predictable rhythm for reviewing our progress. So you'll see us again next year. Next slide, please. So each of the 9 programs includes performance measures that connect to the 4 goals shown at the top of this visual. To track growth, we set long-term performance growth targets, or LPGTs, such as 9th grade on track for high school graduation or 3rd grade reading proficiency growth targets. And these growth targets are developed in collaboration with ODE and align with specific grant requirements. Progress is reviewed quarterly with ODE and reported annually to the school board and our community. Next slide, please. That leads us to today's presentation of our annual report. School districts are required to submit an annual report to ODE, present to the board, post the annual report on the district's website, and report on long-term growth targets. The full report we submit to ODE and post on our website is much more detailed, but tonight's presentation is intentionally a summary, highlighting the key points as recommended by ODE. Next slide, please. So each district develops specific outcomes based on its needs assessment and the overarching goals of the integrated plan. And you can see on the screen David Douglas's 4 priority outcomes. The rest of this presentation will highlight our progress towards these outcomes, and the annual report will provide a more thorough review of progress. Next slide, please. The first part of our annual report highlights areas of progress aligned to our district outcomes. ODE asks us to focus on one of our outcome goals, and our focus tonight is on the outcome of improving student climate and culture, which is measured through events, activities, and survey data. We've expanded family engagement through cultural celebrations, transition activities, and community partnerships that reached more than 2,100 students with Youth Truth data showing real gains in family voice and connection. We've also advanced equity and student voice, from equity training where 95% of staff found the training effective, to student-led changes and student voice weighing in, changes like shaping our new board non-discrimination policies and reducing lunch line wait times. As we're reducing barriers with targeted supports such as TriMet HOP passes and outreach for Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander students. Next slide, please. So the second part of our annual report asks us to look closely at where progress has been more limited. And for David Douglas, that is in the outcome of increasing student achievement. Our biggest challenges continue to be in early literacy, attendance, and targeted school improvement. To address these, we're expanding ECRI, Enhanced Core Reading Instruction, and Science of Reading coaching to strengthen instruction. We've launched a freshman house model this year to support high school attendance. And we're working with TSI, Targeted School Improvement Schools, on high leverage practices like equitable grading, SPED training with the Unique Learning System curriculum, and aligning middle school literacy with the Science of Reading and Oregon's new Adolescent Literacy Framework. These steps are intentional, and they're intentional moves to break down barriers and bring us closer to our student achievement goals. Next slide, please. So the third part of our annual report asks districts to review progress toward the long-term growth targets we set with ODE. Tonight, we're actually sharing data from the 2023 school year, 2023-24 school year, since last year's results aren't yet available. We're happy to share that we exceeded both of our targets for third grade reading proficiency for our focus groups and for our overall proficiency scores. We also saw improvement in attendance with chronic absenteeism reduced by 10% at Gilbert Heights Elementary and 8% at Alisat Middle School. Looking ahead, we will continue the work already underway, as previously mentioned. Strengthening evidence-based literacy practices, expanding our attendance strategies, and using data from the 9th grade house model to guide high school improvement, always keeping an eye on equity and student achievement at the center. So I'm going to turn it over to Val now to share a little bit about our CTE program.
It's usually CTE when I'm here, you guys. So CTE is a big portion of the integrated plan. And so one of the things that we're really proud of is the way we've been able to braid the funds, because there's high school success funds, Perkins funds, to be able to support our students. And specifically, we were really able to focus on how to better support our multilingual learners and our non-traditional students. And so these are areas that we have been charting for a number of years that we're needing to get improvement in. And so really taking some extra initiatives. So key accomplishments you'll see up there. All of our CTE teachers participate in professional development, specifically focused on how to make our CTE classes more accessible to all of our students, and different skills that our students have, how we can really celebrate those and help them feel successful and get embedded in their classes and in the high school process early. Expanded access, so again, just removing those barriers for our students, how we can get our students involved in CTE earlier, because we know that if students are involved in CTE early and they stick with it, that they graduate at a much higher rate. And then also family and student engagement, so participating in multicultural nights, so bringing CTE to the places where our families are already gathering as well, to make sure that families and students understand the opportunities that are available to them and how they can access those. We also have really embedded our student voice with a CTSO, or a Career Technical Education Student Leadership Organization, just rolls off the tongue. And they have pushed down into the middle schools, leading maker fairs, and really trying to recruit our students early so that they can get involved early. I'll have you go to the next slide, please. And then this one, focusing on career and connected learning for that fifth area. We have been really expanding our CTE program beyond the high school. With a lot of intentionality, we've been able to push down into the middle schools, but we've been able to push down into our third grade and our fifth grade as well. Because again, we want these kids to see what they have available to them and start dreaming those dreams early, right? Because those dreams are absolutely attainable. And so we want to get those opportunities in front of them. So we've been able to push into the elementary school and have a chef come and present and get those kids excited, and then they know that they could take a cooking class when they're in middle school, and then they know that they can join the culinary program when they get to high school, and that just opens up a lot of opportunities for them, and a lot of realities that they may not have realized. We also are really proud of our work-based learning and continuing to increase those opportunities so that our kids get that hands-on experience early and often, so that they're excited and ready for that post-secondary life.
So as we close, I just want to recognize and thank our integrated plan team, and you can see their names there on the slide, and thank the board for your continued support. And I'll now pause for questions.
Questions? Thank you so much. This is amazing work, and I mean, it's always impressive to see it all in totality, but I love seeing the specifics, and especially the CTE. I kind of full circle right now, but hearing about, that reaching down to littlest kids, I think is so impactful, because it's such a huge amount of opportunity here at the high school. And so the more that we can get the kids thinking about it earlier on, I think it's great, because I just think even about in college, you don't even know all of the things you can possibly know, right? Until sometimes it's past, right? And you're like, oh, I wish I could have learned about that back when I had the chance. So I especially want to thank that specifically on top of taking on this work, because like Superintendent Richardson said, that's no small task to absorb so much of the additional oversight and all the hard work too, Brooke, picking up all these pieces. So thank you all, and thank you for this presentation. Is there any more? Yeah. And then we now need to open up if there's any public testimony around the integrated plan. Not seeing any.
One more thing, quick. So I wanted to end with another thank you. Obviously recognize Brooke, Sean Sutliff, both amazing presenters tonight, but also throughout this plan, you might have noticed there's a lot of connection with equity, a lot of connection with family engagement and connection. So where this integrated plan is going to live as we move forward is another individual that leaned in and said yes, or she might tell you she was voluntold. But Tay is going to be leading leading this work integrated plan as we move forward with this team. You see your name up there, but when it comes to the cabinet specifically with integrated plan, taking a leadership role and already diving in. I also want to just recognize we've had some conversations, very, very limited, but a good place to just plant a seed. What if I've talked a little bit with our board leadership. This year is the end of our current strategic plan. We also have an equity plan. This is the year of a current equity plan. We also have a strategic hiring plan. We also have an integrated plan. With all that said, I'd love to look at having one plan and having the integrated plan because surprise, having the integrated plan is a have to do, but a right thing to do. What if that's the backbone and core of our strategic plan, or they're one and the same? A lot more talk. I'm not looking for any resolution here. We've just started those conversations and really have barely included board leadership, but more to come. I'm just planting the seed. And lastly, if you don't mind, just recognition here, there's an individual in this room that was awarded as an honoree for the DJC Oregon Women of Vision. If you think about all the work around CTE, if you think about our CTE and Bond Center, and there's an assistant principal that you might be seeing around doing a lot of extra work, I'd like to congratulate Valerie Hill for recognition and receiving that award.
Congratulations. Thank you. Okay, and now we are on to data reports with Ms. Tay Spears.
I am going to call up John May just to sit at the front. John May has been a partner in this work as we continue to look at our data and be intentional about our work, right? We're not just admiring a problem. We are being intentional around finding a solution and ensuring that our students grow and our staff as well. So here we go, jumping right into the end of the year 2024-25 disproportionate data report. So we try to report out on this at least 3 times a year, I believe, and you will continue to see this come up quarterly. Sandy, you can advance. As we jump right in, I want to go right to, while addressing data may sometimes be uncomfortable, it is essential that we take ownership of it. Our current data may not be at the desired level, but similarly, behavior also requires improvement. Acknowledging this, we recognize that there is work ahead of us that needs to be done. Sandy, you can advance. Our overall objective, what I had stated a little earlier, and Sandy, you can advance. Preparing quarterly reports for the David Douglas School Board following the guidelines of the Racial Equity Policy, ACBA, outlining the advancements made in reducing disproportionality in discipline between Black, African American, African, and white students. This is a goal of everyone, right? Not just mine. It doesn't live just in my department, but we all work at this goal. Sandy, can you advance? Some of the data points that we look at during this time are the percentage of students with exclusions, number of exclusions per student, average number of days excluded, and violation. Sandy, you can advance. For the first slide that you see here in relation to the report, this is the percentage of students with exclusion, number of exclusions per student, and average number of days excluded. You will notice that we only look at secondary in a lot of this data. Elementary is not included. So if we start right there at the top of our schools, we are looking at our David Douglas High School and working our way right across, again, the percentage of students with exclusions, disparities, number of exclusions per student, disparities, average number of days excluded, and the disparity. That yellow column, I also want to point out, that is your out-of-school suspension and in-school suspension. Those 2 numbers are combined. I'm just going to give you guys a minute to look at those before I advance.
Can I ask one clarifying question? Mm-hmm. Does Furridge data include if they came mid-year from the high school, does their data come with them, or is it specific to Furridge?
John, can you answer that? I thought it was yes.
So it stays. Okay. So the Furridge data is clean in terms of what happens at Furridge. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, John. And Jose.
Does white include Hispanic students, or some of them, or no, or yes?
It would depend on how they fill out their enrollment form, right? There's those two options there. So depending on that, it may show up as white.
Can I clarify that?
Yes, please do.
The federal reporting many years ago required us to report an ethnicity as well as a race. The ethnicity choices are Hispanic or not Hispanic, and that's all. When we report up to the state and federal government, those are rolled together, those two values into a single value. No matter which race fields you may check, one or more, if you checked Hispanic for ethnicity, that's how you are reported, okay? So it could include all kinds of multi-race kids of any kind, but if you pick the Hispanic ethnicity, that's how you're reported.
I only asked because I know they were looking into this in the prior presidential administration, which I'm sure they're not looking into anymore, because Hispanic kids, few of them will put white, but some will put other, so it's really hard. So.
Thank you for asking that question. Sandy, I'll have you advance to the next slide. Here we have drug possession, and what I do want to point out here, let me lay it out for you first. Drug possession and or use by exclusion per student is what we're looking at. And again, this is our secondary level. And at the top to your right, you'll see exclusion by student and then the disparity to go along with that.
Can I just go back a slide? Do you have this data weighted at all?
Say that again.
Do you have the data weighted? So I know that, like, I guess weighted against the total population of the grade.
Well, these are per student, the percent of students with exclusion. So it doesn't really matter how many are in each group. It's the percent of that group with exclusions.
I understand, but if you, anywhere else, I know not necessarily in this report, but do you have the data? I would be interested to see just in comparison to the whole grade.
You want numbers rather than per student or percentages? Because that's not how we've been told to report this.
Oh, well, take with a grain of salt. Usually my bedtime is 8:30. But I think what I mean is, like, of all the students in 8th grade, how many are white and have disciplinary action? Just kind of like a little bit of a bigger picture, because I'm looking at Ron Russell.
We certainly do have that information. Yeah. That's not what we were asked to report.
Oh,
here.
sure. Yeah, I know. I can connect with you offline.
We have lots of very good reporting that is comprehensive that does that.
Okay.
Yes, and Sarah, that's something we can get to you if we want to connect offline.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Thanks.
These are just pulled to be specific to disproportionality. So those big reports, we do have all that. We've just, it's a lot.
We couldn't take it all.
And it's distracting to constantly kind of flip it back and forth.
Okay, so back here to drug possession and use. I want to go back over to the expulsion per student. One thing that we were looking at in previous years are basically like how much disparity and why did we always see that our African American students were leading in this. I do want to draw attention to Al-Assad, where they're, and you guys, I want to be careful on how I say this, right? Because the goal isn't for our white students to get more referrals, right? I want to be careful of that. And so what I am saying is that right there at Al-Assad, you see more of a closer sort of there's no gap, I guess I would say that.
What is drugs in this context?
Students may be caught with marijuana. Students may be caught with, I think vapes are also included in that, yes. Marijuana, vapes, or any kind of drugs, anything illegal that a student may have that they shouldn't have at school. So they could be using it or in possession of. Intent to sell is not a part of that.
Does that include tobacco? Does this one? I can't remember if we
yes,
pulled it out.
That one includes tobacco.
I don't think so.
I thought it did.
Tobacco is a separate category.
Oh, okay. Well, tobacco's pulled out separately.
Pardon me?
Right. Is alcohol separate from drugs? Drugs is...
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I stand corrected.
Sorry, when you say vapes, So not tobacco or
Marijuana vapes.
or
Marijuana.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And then next we have, and Sandy, you want to advance, we have fighting. So there with fighting, I also want to draw to your attention a few areas where you will see where we're continuing to grow, not really grow, but improve in those areas. I wish I had the data actually from 23 to 24 because these the numbers that we see in front of us today are less. But the disparities are still large. If we look at the high school, our white and black students, again, the disparity is 4.40 for our African American students. As we go down to Ron Russell, looking at white and blacks, disparity for our African Americans are 1.62. So the goal again is how do we close those disparities? How do we get away from that? Oh, go ahead.
Same question. What is fighting?
So fighting is really like if a student goes up with an intention to harm or hurt another kid and they're like boxing it out. That is, I'm so
It's-
old, boxing it out.
It is defined as a mutual altercation.
It is.
So there are two or more participants.
So not someone attacking someone?
That's
but,
a different.
But that's a
Yeah,
different, okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. If someone's defending themselves, is that?
It could.
It is, or is that subjective or up to the reporting?
Honestly, I think it's more subjective, but I think that it could go either way. It just depends. Really, that's why we try to be very clear with when we're writing a referral that you are reporting it exactly as it is so we can make the best decision around the consequence and describing the violation.
Can I just also, when we made these data reports is before, I think, when we first pulled these, we picked 5 indicators, but there are, what, 20 or so? How many in Synergy are identified as potential
So many.
incidence types?
Gosh, I don't know, 25 or 30
Yeah.
probably.
So these are hand-picked, these 5 that we're reviewing, but they're, if you want the full data report, John and Tay have all the details.
The reason for that is we were trying to find data that actually were less subjective. Like you have a drug, there's a physical altercation. So, I mean, it's interesting that you're like, well, what if someone's defending themselves? Is that might be a little subjective, but our idea was to try to pick very clear objective data instead of something like insubordination or, something like that.
Well,
which I think got
which
eliminated.
is next? No, because we're tracking
we're
it to
keeping-
see
oh.
if it's fading out or not.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of a mix. Yeah.
It's been a while. It's late.
Just to be clear, I'm not trying to nitpick. I'm just trying to understand.
No.
I'm just
Seriously,
trying to
just
understand
giving
the concept.
context, right? Just totally giving context. Yeah.
And Sandy, we can advance to the next one. And we're going to get into this a little later, but we still have insubordination as of now in 24-25. But if we draw our attention to Fur Ridge, and again, looking at the numbers there, our white and blacks, you will see that is 0. And continuing to Al-Assad, it is the same. We have none there. White, yes.
And Tay, insubordination, noncompliance should no longer be a category, right? It has to get written in.
Right. So when we move into 25-26, what I'll get into a little later, it has been removed from the birth. Okay. Right. So we are calling that disruption. Call it what it is, right? And we don't want to be subjective with our language, because who's to say what is insubordinate? That's a bias in that language. Okay, Sandy, you can advance. Then we have truancy, and again, I want to draw your attention to Fur Ridge. If you look at those numbers with white and black, addition to Ron Russell, if you go to the bottom, and again, those numbers are 0 and 0 there as well.
This one I don't understand. Why do you exclude somebody from school for skipping school?
Thank you.
I do not understand.
Well, as you can see, the numbers on these are mostly very, very, very small. When you look at an exclusion of 0.01 per student, that's a pretty small number of exclusions. And zero means there weren't any.
But the high school.
Yeah, but still.
Oh, the 0.252. Why is it so large there?
.25
again,
is pretty large, right? I mean, that's 1 out of every 4.
Now, what that looks like in numbers as far as the number of students for that represent that 0.252?
0.25 is exclusions per student. Okay, but it doesn't mean a quarter of the students were excluded.
I understand, but that's still that's a high number.
Compared to the rest of the schools, yes.
And compared to the other indicators, like insubordination, much higher than fighting, about almost a whole degree versus some of the
I
other.
understand that there is an attendance problem, but why is our policy exclusion for that?
And I think in the coming reports for the rest of the year, that's going to look different because the language has also changed. What you're going to see in the burst is that we really try to do more of an alignment with our state and how they identify violations. And truancy has always been a tricky one, but we are trying to move away from that language.
Forgive me, 2 questions.
Yeah.
What's the threshold for truancy to turn into an exclusion? And then 2, what would be the future state, unless you're about to talk about that, of looking at truancy different?
So we have language now for cutting class and leaving without permission that will replace truancy.
And you mentioned at the beginning of this that exclusion includes in-school exclusion.
In-school
so I think for
suspension as well.
truancy in particular, it would be good to know if these were completely in school, out of school, because that feels a little different too, right?
But I was just going to add to that. I was going to add that, Jose. So thank you for clarifying that. And also, what I'm hearing is a follow up, bringing back to the board a little more definition and clarity around this. How much is in school versus out of school? When is? I know that the argument or the conversation. Someone wasn't at school yesterday. They show up at school. They weren't yesterday, so now we send them home. And that's the vision, and that's what we're hearing here. I think we need to get a little more communication and understanding from our principals about exactly what that looks like versus, and again, I'm not saying it's better, versus there are times where truancy is kind of selected, and John might be able to help, is it's not like one skip in suspended or one skip, I do think, in school, but sometimes it's with a number of things that are happening with a student and maybe alternative placements. So it's just information that I think would add context to this to help us understand. It's not an excuse of what's happening, but it's clarification about what's happening. So what I've written down is kind of what is the specifics around the policy, what is this data saying to us in practice, and getting our administrators to share that with us.
But to go back to like the initial goal of all of this work is to understand the disparity. So why would Black students be getting, even outside of the question of what is truancy and why are we excluding for it, why are Black students in particular excluded at a rate nearly 3 times higher than their white peers for truancies? Right. Regrounding and like what is actually the story here, what's the modifiable factors that can be talked about, can be figured out, right? Because all of these, the goal is to figure out how to change them, not just, right? So if it's that, I mean, whatever the intervention is got to be driving the understanding, right? So it's not just to say truancy, yes or no. It's why disparity in truancy.
Thank you for your questions. If we could advance to the next slide. And here we have weapons. And here on this slide, I want to draw your attention to the high school. If we look at the numbers there, and again, our African-American students are at 0. Fur Ridge, our African-American students are also at 0. Ron Russell, our African-American students are at 0. There is still opportunity to continue to improve those numbers because if we look at Al-Assad, we look at the disparity of 2.20.
But again, I want to point out that the sum total of exclusions on that entire chart is very, very small.
Very small.
You're dealing with a handful of incidents here.
I think that's important also on a communications level for our community to understand, because there is absolutely this narrative about our community and our kids, and they are not bringing weapons to school, and this, it's like, just on a communications level.
And to piggyback to the indicators we chose early on, that was one of them, right? It was, there's the story that our kids are getting expelled because everybody's using drugs, everybody's bringing guns to school, blah, blah, blah. And this is to really look at the numbers and see, like, is that really what's driving these? Is that this true story? And this, like, gets at how small those figures are.
And I think the important part about this figures being so small, that a single black student getting a weapons or possessions exclusion, all of a sudden this figure goes crazy. So just to keep that in mind, right?
No, because it's per student.
But still.
But the numbers are so small, he could be correct. A single incident can distort these numbers pretty badly when the numbers are so small.
Do any of these overlap? Like the weapons or drugs, or so it could be someone was
who
had possession of drugs and a weapon, and we'd see them both.
You would still
or
see
you
those
got in a fight
counts.
and you happen to have weapon.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Good point.
That's great. We're not bringing weapons to school for the most part. That's awesome.
We are improving. We are
love it.
improving. Sandy, can I have you advance to the next slide? This slide, we're going to take a look at our data over the past 4 years. And where you see things marked in green are really some celebrations. So if you can see 24, 25, in the number of students with exclusion, if we look at the negative 1.6, again, is trending in the right direction. The percentage of change in that 24-25 column at the negative 49.3%. And if we go to the bottom, the change for baseline 21-22 to 24-25. Again, if we look at the annual change there, we are at a negative 2.7%. Sandy, can I have you advance? And again, looking at the same thing for Fur Ridge, we still want to grow there. But I think the most important thing when we're looking at these is to remember that we want to continue to be intentional about the work. We're keeping it in front of our staff, in front of our principals, and we're also reflecting. And we'll get in some of the intentionality around what we're doing a little later. But just wanted to point that out. Sandy, you can advance. Here we have Al-Assad, and again, trending in the right direction, and we started that really in that 23-24, so where you recognize the change. All the way back down to that baseline data, going to 21-22 and 24-25. In 21-22, at 14.8 for the annual change, and then the annual change for exclusions per students, that negative 7.9. Sandy, you can advance. Here we have Floyd Light, and again, sort of the same thing trending here from 23-24 to 24-25. And Sandy, you can advance. Now we're looking at Ron Russell, and still, right, we have areas of where we want to continue to improve, but I also like to celebrate where we are. 22-23, 23-24. And also this gives us an opportunity. I know our principals will just drill this data down and say, where's this happening at? What do we need to do differently? Who are we partnering with? What supports do our students need? Or what supports do our staff need? Sandy, you can advance. So my favorite part, again, I want to get to some of the celebrations. How are we approaching our behavior data with intentionality? Sandy, you can advance. One thing I wanted to point out here, and Heather, I think I shared this with you early on during our meeting. Middle school students, if we look at our middle school students for our African American students, 80% of our middle school students have 0 referrals, have 0 exclusions, I'm sorry. High school students, if we look at that, we have 84% of our high school students with no exclusions. So taking that opportunity, yes, we still have work to do, but where are some of the high points? Where are we thriving? Where can we lean into other schools and learn from? Sandy, I'm going to have you advance. Here, I alluded to some of the updates we did over the summer. This was in partnership with Florence, John, and myself, where we went back and changed some of our language. And the goal really was to ensure that our language was not subjective, moving away from that, but also aligning some of our language with the state. So you will see examples. Fighting and physical aggression will be separated on the burst. Thomas, it almost goes back to what you were saying. So for a fight, right, if it's a fight, mutual agreement, that is considered a fight. If it's physical aggression because maybe I snatched something from someone or maybe bumped into a friend in the hallway, is that considered a fight? There is a difference there. Disruptive behavior will be replaced insubordination would be replaced with disruptive behavior. That is how it now reads on our birth. Cutting class and leaving without permission will be cutting class without permission we've replaced truancy with cutting class and leaving without permission. Assault will no longer include the term violence because in the past it said assault violence. Words have power. This information goes home to parents. We want to be careful of that. Threat and intimidation will be replaced with violence toward individuals. And minors, non-compliance has been removed. Because the goal really with minors, we want to do a couple of redirects to our students before we would even be moving into a major. Where's the reteach opportunity? Sandy, you can advance. Part of what our departments have done, and this is in partnership with DEI and Student Services, one of our PDs, we will be addressing like how to improve our disparities is around bias and behavior, right? We know that to be true. Allowing teachers an opportunity to really reflect what gets your blood boiling. Why do you need to be aware of that when you're responding to behavior? Because bias shows up in that. So growing in our self-awareness and paying attention to our own moods, our needs, and our escalations. Sandy, you can advance. Another part of the strategies is having the opportunity to reflect around specific parts of the day where behavior is challenging and where things work well. So giving teachers an opportunity to reflect and say, wow, first period went really good. What happened there? How do I capture that and continue to move that forward in other spaces in my classroom? Process and planning time, going with another teacher who might really be thriving in the area of behavior. How do I connect with this teacher in a way that I can maybe learn from? How do I ask questions and be okay with not assuming that I have bias, I'm racist? How do we unpack those conversations? Sandy, you can advance. Other opportunities, again, we don't want buildings to look at this data one time a year. So where does that happen at? Well, PBIS meetings and our equity team meetings give us an opportunity to look at our disproportionate data, have real conversation, and make sure that we are showing up our best selves for students. Those are two examples, but buildings may share with you, hey, I also do it in this setting when I'm looking at my SIT goals, etc. I will pause there. And are there questions?
I have one question that's just a tiny bit off topic, and that is, is this just for the classrooms, not for the activities? Like, is athletics there during this kind of training?
So would coaches be at the trainings? Not in all buildings, no. So we have some coaches who are in dual roles, right, where you might have a PE teacher that is also a coach. They would be in that setting, but it's a good point, Stephanie. No, we don't currently have that right now.
I think it would be great. Also, I second the coach's comment, but our volunteers too. Just put this on. It's already 12 pages thick, so it's the 13th page. Just like here's some self-reflection and things to grow on.
Not so much a question, but I know we appreciate you for your work all the time, but with this particularly, this kind of work is all about getting the data in front of people and being able to confront your biases because we all have them, and this is the only way we get better. So it's the actual work that's making a difference. So I want to point that out, that putting these numbers in front of teachers, we're seeing it we're not perfect yet, but we're seeing like the trends go in the right direction. So we appreciate all the work you're all doing, because we see a fraction of, I know you're doing so much more than even we see. Even just crunching numbers, there's so much more. So we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, John.
One more.
Oh, sorry.
One more. That's okay. More adults to think about it. When you say teachers, is that the certificated instructors, or who is anyone training?
Yeah, so
classified
within our
staff?
PD trainings that we have, and we all do in different departments, have different PD. Sometimes it is possible for our classified to be a part of that. It's been really nice because our classified are now paid to be in those meetings. Beforehand, they would be coming in and it would be voluntary. So there is opportunity for them to be paid and present.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you. I know this is a lot of work. Thank you, John. Thank you, Tay. And thank you for showing the work that's connected, and to all of the administrators and teachers that are like digging in and looking at this. Like, it's constant, right? But you can see that intentionality and the thought process is there because it's interwoven into all of it. So it's real. I appreciate everybody doing this work.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Thanks again, John. Appreciate you.
Someday you will retire, right?
Tell him that.
Okay, we're way behind schedule, so everybody, we're going to be trying to tighten up here. I thought that would be longer than we planned for it, but complaint tracking.
Are you all tired of hearing my voice yet?
Tay, do you mind really 30 seconds, so actually 15 seconds, again, what this is a communication of what and how we track. We received a communication from Thomas early about complaints, and he reached out, I think at the beginning of the summer, and was like, hey, can you tell me how we track complaints, and how do board get updates on it? And I said, yes, but we don't have a real formal process. It's informal. So with that said, I met with Tay and Ide and talked about, hey, let's formalize a process here. Let's get a flow chart so the board understands exactly how we are tracking, one. And then two is so we have tools moving forward and possibly reporting quarterly or whatever it may be, that gives trends, data, information, targets. So with that said, again, and Tay and Ida, they both did amazing work here and have a tool to share.
All right, and I'm going to go really fast, so Sandy, you can go to the next. Really, there's 3 goals that I would like to walk away with. Clearly understanding the David Douglas formal complaint protocol and confidentially apply the knowledge when needed. Effectively follow and access our district protocol. I'm going to turn it over to Ida.
Can we go to the next slide? Okay. Okay. So,
I got you.
yes.
Yep.
Sorry, I think
No.
I'm in the next one.
I think so.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. So here is sort of our what and why, and our what and our how. So we wanted to be clear with our families or anyone who is wanting to file a complaint what that looks like. That can be found on our website. So that is the how, but let me go back to the what. So per Oregon law and school board policy, the David Douglas School District provides a specific process to resolve complaints filed by district parents, guardians, caregivers, students, and people who live in the district. The district is committed to resolving all complaints in a fair, transparent, and timely manner. And then to your right, you will see where you can find that information and steps on how to do that on our website. Sandy, you can advance.
Okay. Yes, this is me.
My apologies.
I apologize. Okay. So 3 years ago, we developed the We Are Here for You family flowchart with a clear purpose. And it's to offer families a visual guide for them to know how to connect with staff when they have questions, when they have concerns, or when they need support. Because we do know that schools, navigating the school system can be overwhelming sometimes for some of our families. So this flowchart is designed to streamline the communication to ensure that families can connect with staff quickly and confidently without without feeling frustration, having to make multiple phone calls or sending emails or messages to multiple people. So each of our schools, or every school has its own flow chart because every school has their phone number included in the flow chart, in addition to the administration team. So the principal and assistant principal, their names are included in the flow chart. And again, the purpose for the flow charts was to give families a visual to help them connect with the right people immediately. Next slide.
So here's the process, and this lives in the house of Mr. Andy Long and myself. You all have a copy in front of you of the complaint process, and there's really 5 steps here. So when the complaints are received at district office, we begin the process of, let me go back to the office of the superintendent, will begin the process once the complaint has been received following the 10-day response time. So we try to make sure that we do those in a really timely manner. 2, we track the info. What information are we looking for? We want to ensure that we know the name, the date, and the type of complaint that has been filed. When it reads resolution requested, I want to be clear in saying that it doesn't mean whatever someone writes down is what we follow. We want to ensure that we are investigated and have integrity behind the steps. So our investigation includes speaking with all appropriate parties involved and following all appropriate policies. Once we get to the place where we hope that we have it resolved, we call the person who initiated the complaint to make sure that they have been updated around the investigations and the steps that we took. Lastly, we know that not all complaints stop at our office, and then that's when we inform the board. We also have a tracking system. Andy and I keep a Google Doc. Is it a Google Doc, Andy? Yeah, it's a sheet with information there that we would be sharing out to you upon your request quarterly, maybe. I think that's what we talked about.
And so with this, that like step 3 resolution requested, I think it's great. Because if they're not asking for something, maybe there's nothing more that we've done. Mm-hmm. Is there probably a step within that like the complaint merits some kind of investigation, whether or not mm-hmm. the person specifically requested a resolution?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Yep. Andy, did you want to add anything there?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Typically, there's some kind of issue that we would want to look into deeper. Depending on the resolution requested, you're exactly right. Most of the time, we would dig into it anyway, there's some kind of issue hidden in the complaint that we need to find out and see if we can improve on.
Okay, and that's just like a formal, like, on the back end decision between, at 2, when you get all the information you need at step 2. Because I'm with you that, like, not everything needs to be investigated. Yeah. I like the tracking because you might end up with, like, a multitude of complaints that don't necessarily ask for resolution individually, but then trigger in our decision-making process here at the tracked info session, like, oh, wait, we've got a whole lot weighted in this particular area. Let's independently decide to investigate. Or something that the person's like, I'm just angry and I'm venting. Yeah. I'm not asking for a resolution, but we know as professionals in our training and our setting that we need to investigate. So I just want to make sure that that's happening right there in track info. Okay. When we get the basic level information that you have, there's some kind of internal trigger that determines whether the investigation step happens, regardless of step 3.
Thank you.
And is under step 5, if a resolution is achieved, when I read resolution, I read the complainant is happy, and I don't think that's necessarily going to be the goal.
Yeah, because
not the goal, the outcome, because it could be I'm mad that chocolate milk's available, but chocolate milk's still going to be available. So
yeah, good point, Thomas. And not everyone will always be happy with the steps, but we're going to always try to do our best for what's right in this process. And it may not be accommodating to what their original request was, for an example like you just gave, right?
Well, and part of it has to do the resolution, and we could change that word or talk about it. But per the policy is, 1, they agree, happy, or accept. I guess I'll use those three language, because if not, they can appeal it. It can go to the next level, which ultimately comes to the board. So I think that's part of that is if there's not a resolution or maybe new language, then there would be an appeal, right? They have that opportunity. Yeah.
I would maybe say complaint closed or escalated.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick question. Who is doing the investigating, and has there ever been a situation where a parent or a situation requires like a third party investigator? I see. It's too late for this question. Do you want to?
No, it's just the reason why we have this complaint process is sort of that.
Okay.
There was an incident that required us to go back and look at our whole system. It has happened before, but, Tay can talk about how actually, like, if it's a civil rights violation, it needs to go through people who have been trained in this particular area. I mean, there's a little complexity there, and it costs, right? It costs us. So that would be a very rare occurrence. And hopefully this process and following policy will not have to get us there, but it has happened. So I don't know how much more to say, but yeah.
So I'll just add, if it's okay, if you don't mind, the answer is yes. I mean, the answer is there could be a time a board says we're going with a third party, integrate. Per the policy, first of all, if the complaint's about me, it goes directly to the board, right? So Andy or Tay wouldn't, and I can't investigate it myself, so then it would be the board or possibly a third party. If there is a complaint about the board, it goes to the board chair. If there's a complaint about the board chair, it goes to the board. I mean, so there's a lot of different nuances in the policy itself, but typically what would happen is the investigation, the complaint comes in, whether it be Tay, Andy, or myself, typically Tay or Andy, because I'm more the appeal before the board, but that's where it lands. But there are times and situations, like I said, civil rights, Title IX issues, we have to have trained people investigate. So I apologize, it's not a yes or no. It's kind of dependent on the situation.
No, that context is really helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is this in the CBA?
So this is what we're talking about here is policy, but there is language in the licensed CBA about complaint procedures. So yes, if someone comes to administrator with a complaint about a teacher, there is language in the CBA about that.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm excited to see data from this.
Thank you.
Hopefully it's not too much. Thank you.
Thank you. That's great. Okay, so we are on to consent agenda.
I would like to move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Okay. Director Ender, what is your vote?
Ender, aye.
Stevenson?
Aye. Stevenson, aye.
Epstein, aye.
Germer-Durson, aye.
Dr. Jordan?
I don't know what I'm consenting to.
Just say abstain.
You can
Abstain.
Stevens, aye.
Franklin, aye. Next, we're on to appointment of Budget Committee member, position 3. This is Director Epstein. Would you like to announce your appointment for your Budget Committee person? You're reappointing Chris?
I am reappointing Chris Murphy. Chris Pierkowski.
Pierkowski.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's awesome because he's great.
Wonderful.
Okay, we are on to OSBA elections. Nominations open. This is an action item.
I have a motion.
Yes, please.
I move that the David Douglas School Board nominate Althea Ender for the OSBA Board of Director LPC position number 18.
I second the motion.
Great. Is there any discussion?
Can we say what LPC is for the
Legislative Policy
Thank
Committee? And yay, Director Ender.
All right. Director Stevens, what is your vote?
Stevens, aye.
Director Jordan, do you have a vote?
Aye.
Germer-Durson, aye.
Epstein, aye.
Stevenson, aye.
Yeah, you can vote for yourself.
Ender, aye.
Franklin, aye, and thank you for doing this. Yes? Excellent. Yes, go ahead.
Really quick, since we're on OSBA has their board meeting this weekend, and I have been nominated for president-elect. So I will let you know.
Wow.
Yeah, I will let you know what happens.
Yeah?
Only the board, the OSBA board votes.
Only the OSBA board. Okay. Boo. Okay. Superintendent's report, please.
Absolutely, and I'm feeling a theme of trying to be tight and concise. So, but there are a few things I want to share. First and foremost, I want to share with this board and our community. Everyone understands it's been brought up a few times today, or at least once. But effective July 2nd, 2025, Governor Tina Kotek signed Executive Order 2509. This order requires all K-12 schools to prohibit personal electronic devices, such as smartphones, smartwatches, from the start of the school day until dismissal and lunch passing. You're actually going to be talking about this in a policy, or at least voting on a policy later. I'm not going to go into detail other than we did roll that out. We had a tremendous amount of communication. Our administrators, many of you probably saw it from our administrators from IDA. Overall, I think it's been very smooth. We heard a couple feedbacks, information. There's always going to be bumps. There's always going to be questions. But the reality is, to date, it's been accepted and understood. One thing we're really still working on is the exception process, right? There's clear communication law around IEPs or 504s, and when would there be an exception? So we are communicating that that's there, that how you do that, but we're still kind of trying to land that, to be quite honest. So ultimately, that's where we're at in the process. I wanted to be clear with our board, with our community, and that, we're moving forward with it. And so far, it's been received. I don't know if I want to use the word positive. We should be asking our students that, and he's not here obviously right now, but I do know that any kind of formal complaints or pushback's been very, very limited. So I think people understand it, and ultimately, kind of the why. The goal is clear mind, fewer interruptions, focused learning environment, talks about improved focus, increased learning time, reduce stress, and support well-being. So I think overall, people can get behind that. The second thing I want to communicate, make sure our board's aware of, is unfortunately right now, and it is early, I'm not here to communicate doom and gloom. I'm here to communicate reality and where we're at and impact. And right now, enrollment is tracking down. We're down about 156 students total, K-12, excuse me. The reason that's so important for this board and our community is the reality is we want anyone listening and out there that we want you in school, we want you there if for some reason there's been any miscommunication. But the other thing, the reality is our enrollment, students drive revenue, right? Our enrollment drives revenue. So if we're down in enrollment, that means our revenue could be down based on our projections. Our board understands that, I believe. I know we have some new board members, but I'm always going to be very transparent and communicating that going forward. In fact, I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to be asking board leadership if we could add a workshop. I know it's an addition around budget sometime in late November, early December, to kind of really, at that point, we'll have hard numbers on enrollment. We'll also made payroll for a few months so we can have better projections toward the ends of the year. Remember, we did this last year to be transparent for the entire community. This is what we're looking at. This is our direction around advocacy, et cetera. Which that direction around advocacy, et cetera, I'm just going to do a snapshot. There's more data around enrollment, but the advocacy really comes in. I communicated with the board, again, to our community. I want to make sure they understand that on Wednesday, August 27th, we had a revenue forecast for the state of Oregon. That revenue forecast was significantly down. We're talking to the tune of $888 million. So the reality is what is the state going to do with that? We have nothing as a school system that says there's going to be any kind of imminent cuts, but they are definitely talking about the word recession. They're definitely talking about impacts to schools in our entire state, because HR1, the current budget package from the current administration, basically hits the state of Oregon not just with that $888 million that I just meant, but $15 billion statewide over like the next 6 years, I believe. So there is definitely concerns in the state of Oregon, the impact that's coming. Some of you might have seen the actual article in the Willamette Week about projections around our overall population in the state of Oregon and how that's going down and what the impact is. All of that impacts us, and there is predictions. Again, I don't want to focus on this. It's the start of school. We have a lot more celebrations I'll get to in a minute, but really we need to be educated and understand as a team. There are predictions that we have some very tough times ahead when it comes to budget for the state of Oregon. And we personally, as David Douglas, I shouldn't say personally, we professionally as David Douglas, have been living off our savings intentionally. We've been spending down reserves, ending fund balance, and we're going to hit a wall real quick with that if some of this comes to light. Here's the one positive I will say. When you think about 9, 10, 11, you think about the recession, one thing the state didn't have that we have now is any type of reserves. And the state has very healthy reserves for school, for rainy day funds. The reason I'm bringing that up, because as members of the board, policymakers, and advocates for education, we may be activated to advocate, to talk about, we have reserves, right? We're not saying spend them willy-nilly, but there might be a time that we're reaching out to our local electeds to say, hey, what about this? Can you help us with that? So just a snapshot right now, so we're all aware. We are tracking it. We're tracking it closely. Everything I'm hearing from OSBA, everything I'm hearing from COSA is, quote unquote, do not panic. It's not about panic. It's about advocacy. It's about monitoring and being prepared to activate, to have communication with our communities. So I just want everyone aware of that, and I will keep us updated. We will be tracking it very closely from our enrollment to actually impacts. Again.
So Ken, one thing on the state budget, as federal funds and state funds are reduced, huge impact on families in our district, even beyond schools. So we're talking about SNAP, or what used to be called food stamp benefits, going away. Huge amounts of people that are no longer going to be eligible for that, for Medicaid, for disability service. I mean, it's going to be hitting a lot of our families hard, not just at school. And I honestly believe that schools are actually going to be asked to partner more on things like food security. And so just something to keep in mind with no new resources, like how do we pull together as a community, as we're doing with immigration, to support our families and our students?
Thank you, Stephanie. Absolutely agree. And I was very quick, but that was part of HR 1 cuts federal funding to Oregon. I kind of briefly by $15 billion over the next 6 years, $1 billion in 25 through the biennium 25 through 27, which you nailed it. And cuts are primarily in Medicaid, Human Services, and SNAP. So our community, our families will feel it. We've already, IDA's been giving us reports and updated in cabinet and communities. We've already had food banks just eliminated, just gone, right? So there's a lot more work we're going to have to do, be asked to do. I'm proud to do that work, but also it's going to be difficult. So thank you, Stephanie.
And I will make a note that I've been reading that school districts with high Hispanic populations are seeing enrollment numbers drop and absenteeism go way up, especially with younger kids, because parents are afraid and they're taking their kids out of school or keeping them home. So if this continues the way it is, I could see this keep
going the other way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, which the current administration, previous administration, we saw that direct hit in our enrollment. We aren't that far to see the impact of that enrollment. I just have kind of the raw numbers, but we will be trying to unpack that and where are students. Okay, very serious topics. We all understand that. We're all together to serve our community. I want to transition now. Not that those topics do not go away, but I want to transition to celebrations. We launched school. We opened school. So proud, so excited, so privileged to be part of that. So thankful for the board, the entire board. But really, I just want to give some numbers and some celebrations as we kind of talk a little bit tonight. Basically, I want to talk about gratitude to our students, our families, our community. Right? We have buses, we have walkers. It changes our community and the dynamics, right? Patience, flexibility as we're dropping off students. There's lines, there's bus lines, there's different things going on, and the reality of our families are just always so gracious and excited. And we already had testimony about, you see a kid coming on with a backpack bigger than them, and that smile, I mean, there's nothing like it, right? So being able to go to the open houses, just so thankful. Second shout out and thank you to each and all of our employees for all of their work around the 25-26 school year and the launch. You can think about the hundreds, borderline thousands of classrooms that were ready, office spaces that were ready, counselors, classified employees, all they do to lean in, administration, all they do to basically for that smooth start. And although there's always bumps, and I am never going to say we're perfect, I know that it's been a smooth start, as our union president communicated a little bit. Very proud of that. Proud and grateful to everyone involved. If you think about tech, custodians, grounds, office staff, transportation, food service, again, I'm going to leave so many out. Teachers, admin, managers, supervisors, all of them just trying to do everything they can. So a little bit just for fun, some data. Mileage, transportation, we went from 0 miles one day to basically about 5,500 students transferred a day, 617 different bus stops a day, 762 miles a day. Again, just for fun, kind of going around our district. Facilities, if you think about for our district, we have over 180 plus acres that our grounds take care of and try to look good for students and families as we come back to school. We have over 1.3 million square feet of facilities that are being taken care of by classified staff and others that I always just think it's fun to celebrate. We have over 1,351 IEPs that we've been communicating, working on, and transitioning with families across over 500 or 459 504s. We have served over 9,243 breakfasts. It's about 1,300 a day. Over 25,000 lunches. That's over 3,600 a day. Again, this is just kind of for fun. Tay already shared a little bit about some of our GYO work, specifically 22 GYO student participating. We have over 17 parents that have signed up to learn more about joining our building equity teams, which I think is one policy we're going to talk about. We're already doing recruitment there. Since the start of the school year, we've held 3 staff immigration trainings we've talked about a little bit. 2 equity chair and principal meetings have taken place. So again, just snapshot. I'm never going to capture anything. I just want to celebrate and kind of brag a little bit about the amazing work that our district does. Another one, instructional materials. This board worked hard, pushed us as a district to kind of think about budget, be very strategic, and adopt curriculum, right? Stay on track with that. So materials processed, over 6,500 new items to ensure students are fully supported, over 5,800 curriculum resources, over 722 new library books, 53 unique drawers of hands-on lab materials, 16 teachers to launch the new lab aids curriculum, 52 pallets. That's pallets of Twig Elementary science materials, over 26 new license. Yeah. Yeah. I hear a lot about those pallets. So many of you were at the new staff orientation. Thank you for being there just to kick off. 449 educators, 7,398 students have been restored to Go Guardian, or rostered, restored. It's late, rostered and Go Guardian, which help keep students and staff safe. Anyway, all of this is just a snapshot, and the reality is thank you to our entire community. Thank you to our staff, our administrators, everyone involved. Good launch. A lot of work to do. Let's build. Let's have a great 25-26 year. And thank you, board, for all of your work to make this happen. Really appreciate it. So that's my report to this evening.
Thank you, Ken. Okay. Moving along. Board policy second read.
I would like to move approval of board policies listed on the agenda. Do I need to read them all? Policy AC, board governance. Policy JB, students. Policy JF, CEB, students.
Second.
A second.
Thank you. Okay. Discussion?
I noticed on the personal electronic devices policy, there's a bracketed statement in the, at least what's available. Is that, am I misunderstanding something?
I do not have it in front of me. It shouldn't be bracketed, so it might be a typo or something that was supposed to be unbracketed.
Okay.
Do you want to share what it is and we can clarify?
Sure. It's.
I apologize for that.
It looks like it's the second sentence and bracket statement. Personal electronic devices can be used when students are not on school grounds and are not under the supervision of school personnel. parentheses, other than a school bus driver, end parentheses, end bracket. Which I don't have a problem with, I just wasn't.
The intention was to leave that in based on the previous conversations, but it is, if you disagree,
I don't
totally
disagree,
understand.
I just didn't want to necessarily vote
that
for.
bracket should have been removed. I
Yeah.
apologize for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any other discussion before we vote? All right. Director Ender.
Ender, aye.
Stevenson, aye.
Epstein, aye.
Kimmerer Jerson, aye.
Jordan, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Franklin, aye. Okay, first read, Educational Equity Advisory Committee.
All right, we're gonna jump into it. And Sandy, can you bring up the slide deck that goes with this? I promise you, there's only like 2 or 3 slides. As I jump into it, the District Educational Equity Advisory Committee, some of you may have heard this language before. Truly, this came about, I think, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and originally the intent was any school that had an enrollment of over 10,000, they had to put it in effect right then. Any other school would not have to have it solely enforced really until 2025, September of 2025. So here we are, right? And the changes that have been made, there's a few updates here by ODE, and it's the beginning a temporary rulemaking process regarding the District Equity Advisory. And I should go back and say, I'm excited about this advisory. It brings forth really important things around our students, our parents, and even our staff can be a part of this advisory. So looking forward to the work. I will also throw in that David Douglas has been doing this work, but it just looked different on the platform. And so the 4 bullets there that I want to draw your attention to are the advisory role. So the advisory role committee will now advise the superintendent, not the school board. Secondly, public meeting law. So committees are no longer subject to public meeting requirements. Thirdly, membership selection. So the superintendent will now select committee members. Board approval is no longer required. And then lastly, a member of the Educational Equity Advisory Committee will serve on the school district budget committee. And Sandy, you can advance to the next one because I just wanted to make sure we're clear on the timeline for David Douglas. So September 11th, today, board first read. And then on the 15th, we will be sending out communication and starting the recruitment to bring together our families, caregivers, students, staff to be a part of this committee. Lastly, we are hoping to convene and have our first meeting in October.
Another part is that school board members can now be part of this committee.
Yes. That's it on my end.
Any other discussion? Thank you, Tay.
Yes.
All right. Okay, reflection. We're on to reflections, and I'll remind us that we are coming up on time. So if we can be brief, I'd open up the floor. Reflections on public comment.
I'll just start by a general gratitude to everyone who came to public comment. I thought that, and thank you for reminding us, Chairperson, that we have kind of a decorum, that we like to keep this a safe space, a productive space, a collegial space at times, and I feel like folks came with that. There's a lot of high emotion, and I heard that. I respect it. And I like that people, for the most part, didn't call out specific folks, but focused on kind of the problem as a whole and kind of what they wanted to see resolved. So I saw it as constructive. So thank you.
Yeah, I think a lot of what we heard tonight, if we look at that flow chart, is still in the probably moving maybe from building administrator to central office superintendent in terms of resolve. So it's not quite to a board decision yet. I think that it warrants some attention from the administration, and that's really their role. So that's kind of just to give feedback to the folks who are here, like it's not quite our job yet to look at something like this. But, concern.
Agreed with both of those, and also I want to appreciate the staff that came and shared about what the families are going through regarding their immigration status, and also I'll reflect a little bit on all the people that we had come before us. And I'm sorry, your first meeting had to be the longest meeting of life.
Don't jinx her. Right. It's okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. Last, we have board liaison and committee reports, and it will take privilege here and just say that we will need to confirm for Director Jordan that when we're doing assignments, we like to make sure that our liaison schools do not overlap with our kids' personal schools. I think you're fine. And then we'll just want to check in about new assignments. And is it okay to bring up the potential addition of more?
Yes.
Yeah. So we may add on another role too, along the line with administration specifically. So a liaison role to that too. So we can reconvene, or we can kind of talk about it amongst ourselves on if we need to do any moving around of folks, and definitely new assignment for our newest board member. But if there's any report back on those committees that you're assigned to and or board liaisons, please be sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to Lincoln Park. I got to attend their back to school barbecue kickoff. It was lovely. My highlight, apart from seeing the families enjoying themselves, was getting to meet the staff, the educators who are directly involved with the dual language immersion program. And so they had this awesome thing. They put the poster of like the teacher and the class lists up for each grade along the outside, and some of the teachers got to stand there, so I knew exactly how to go and meet folks. So I met, for example, both the person who's been with the dual language immersion for 5 years in like the preschool program, and the new 4th grade teacher, because now we have added the 4th grade. Each year we're adding a grade, right? So 4th grade teacher, absolutely new to us, so excited. And so we'll be looking forward to the 5th grade, and before long we'll be in middle school. So I just want to keep that on the board's attention. And also I got to attend Gilbert Heights parent group meeting, which was also lovely, because I've only seen my own elementary school parent groups. So it's good to see how other folks do it, well attended. There were more kids than adults, and they had tons of things for the kids to do. So great job. I hope my affiliation schools don't change too much, because I like them.
I, like always, all my back to school night for my liaison schools were all on the same night. I don't know how I'm so lucky that it happens every year, but I was able to attend them. Back to school night is always a highlight. It's so much fun to see the kids, brand new and not brand new, walk in the halls, and no matter where I go, I always bump into Tay, no matter what happens for some reason. But it was great, and hopefully next year I'll have them on different nights so I can spend more time at each school, but looking forward to it.
If that's all, then we are adjourned.
Can we get a board picture? We're like never together. Can we just, anyone interested in a big quick board picture? We're like never together? That's all right. We can do it next time. Next time we're all together.